Man, poo woo. I haven't seen that in a while. Was that from last race? Was that the what did I think I typed woohoo on my starting soon screen and it just said poo woo because I write letters real bad. Oh, Pog wow, that's what it was. Yeah. That's what it was. Guys, I've been hooked to a new energy drink recently. I haven't drank energy drinks in years. Actually, wait. It's Monster. I love Monster. Everything is Monster. Monster runs my life. I drink Monster like water. I fucking love Monster. On God, there needs to be a caffeine-free version of every energy drink. Really? I would never be drinking this if it wasn't giving me energy. Because realistically, the only way to make it taste like this is to have all this crazy shit in it, you know. I'm a big water guy. You know what I found out there was the other day? There is a product that just has water. It's just water. But like the top of it has like scent on it. So like as you are drinking water, you smell something else and it like tricks your brain into thinking that it's a different flavored water. Yeah, air up, whatever. It's trash. Yeah, probably. I mean, I just drink water. Dude, there definitely was a time in my adult life though where I was drinking soda like all the time. That's really bad for you. No matter what soda you're drinking. I'm a water Chad now. Tap water Chad? I'm not a tap water Chad. Not in LA. LA tap water is not ideal. Come to Sweden, we got the good shit. I believe it. Dude, I do want to go to Sweden. I actually do want to go to Sweden. That's one of the places on earth that I actually really want to spend time in. I just I know so many Swedish people. I've raided with so many Swedes that I'm just interested in their culture. I want to know, and I bet it's a beautiful country. That would be really cool. I wonder when I'd be able to do that. I mean, if I went out there, I don't think Impec could show me around. I'm pretty sure Impec lives in like pardon my French, bumfuck nowhere, Sweden. One second. Let me pull up a Sweden map. I'm pretty sure Impec lives like very northern Sweden. Let me see. Actually no, I don't even recognize any of these major cities. I need an even more in-depth map. Um, hmm. Okay, I don't remember it, but it's somewhere around and forgive me, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. It's somewhere around Kiruna, Malmberget, or Haparanda. It's like somewhere over there. Max, he lives in Umeå, Max? That's where he said... Oh, okay. So I was very wrong. Is that where he said he lived? Yeah. Like, for example, do people... If I were to go see Sweden, would that be a place that I would go to see Sweden? Is that a very touristy place? You'd probably go to, like, Stockholm, right? Dude, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go... I'm holding myself to it, bro. I'm going to go on a solo trip to Sweden. Like, in the next few years. I really want to do that, actually. No, you're not? Yeah, I will, bro. I'm going to do it. Just go to South EU. I've already been so many places in Europe. I want to go to a Scandinavian country, and I know more Sweden. I know more Swedes than anybody else, so. In Europe, I've been to Spain, Portugal, Italy, France, the UK. Well, actually, I've only been to London. I haven't been anywhere else in the UK. Been to Germany, been to Austria, been to Switzerland. I drove through Liechtenstein or whatever. I've been to Belgium. I have not been to the Netherlands. I've been to, like, most of Western Europe. I have not been to Greece. I haven't been to any Eastern European countries. And I haven't been to any Scandinavian countries. Max, if you come to Denmark, we can start there to show you around and continue to Sweden. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to do that. That would be really cool if people could show me around. You know, I was really surprised. I was like, I wasn't sure I wanted to go to an EU TwitchCon a few years ago, and I got a bunch of people in my chat that were like, I'm going to EU TwitchCon. It'd be so fucking cool if you went there. And I forget that, like, there's a ton of WoW fans that are European. Because, like, from an outside perspective, you would assume that if I were to go to an EU TwitchCon, I'd be, like, the fucking enemy. But we have a lot of EU fans. We also have a lot of EU haters. All right, anyways. Have you guys all found my camera? Oh, it's covering chat. Fuck. One second, I gotta change this for the future. I gotta put chat box at the top so the chat box goes over it. I didn't realize it'd be that easy to find. Okay, but if it covered chat like this, I actually feel like it would have been really hard. I thought I was really smart by doing that. I think it would have been really fucking hard if it was behind chat. Because you guys are, like, looking at chat, though. All right, anyways. What's up, everybody? I haven't had a WoW stream in, like, a week. I was streaming Diablo earlier. Oh, it's, like, so dark in here. I don't want to get up and change that, though, so... Max, the most fun class to play in the War Within, not Hunter, please. Alright, well, it's not Hunter then. Fuck 'em. I look everywhere but at chat. Yeah, I doubt people look at the chat on screen when you're watching on Twitch or YouTube. Maybe if you're on YouTube, you read the chat because you can see Twitch chat. It's mainly for YouTube videos, and it is very good for YouTube videos. Anytime I watch a streamer that is making a YouTube video that they clearly recorded from their screen, I am like glued to the actual chat usually. Max, DK or Monk? Just wondering which one you're liking more right now. It's pretty close. React to the new Tettles video. We could do a lot of stuff today. What we need to do today for sure, and you cannot let me forget this, is we have to finalize our questions for Morgan. I'm doing an interview this week, and I haven't sent in my questions yet because Diablo came out. I need to like finalize that. I had come up with a few of them, but like I definitely have some more. React to being replaced on Potty C by Meg. Oh yeah, I guess I should tell you guys about that. Bro, I had a fucking... I had a hell of a day on Thursday. I did something, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. So, I played 4 hockey games in 24 hours. And that's... I didn't really know what my limit was. But it's definitely that or a little before that. Because I was so fucking tired after that. I played a hockey game at 10:30 p.m. Wednesday night, and then on Thursday I had my game at 7:30, and I was going to sub for the team at 10:30, which was going to be 3 games in 24 hours. But I've done that before. That's fine. But then I would have had to wait for an hour and a half until the game started, and the game that happened in between the 7:30 and 10:30 game needed a skater. So I'm like, fuck it. So yeah, I skated 4 games, and I was extremely exhausted, like very, very tired. So, that was the day we recorded our podcast, and I told them going into that day, I'm like, guys, it's gonna be super late tonight. You might want to replace me. And then I was like, could be a good mega set time, and they were like, okay. But dude, I didn't know they actually replaced me on that podcast until like I got done with my last game. And if they didn't replace me, it would have meant that I would have had to play the 3 hockey games, come home at midnight, and then record a podcast. And I would have been so bad on that podcast if I had to do that. Plus, I needed to sleep so bad. And for some reason, or they ended up replacing me, and I read that, and I was like, oh my god, thank god. That would have been so fucking terrible. Although we did record some Patreon content last night. We did a viewer Q&A. I don't know at which when each of them is going to get released when Frank is done editing them, but the other one we did was a new Potty T last night. And that was fucking crazy. Super long, super good. And the person, for the first time ever, like the person who wrote the Potty T was actually like definitely the villain. I don't know if they really knew that. But by the end of it, we were like, dude, you caused all of this. So that was pretty funny. That's pretty good. Spoilers, and I'm mad now. It's still a very good listen. Max, can you drop the... No, he wasn't really... It's more complicated than that, but yeah. Did Frank take all the Patreon money? Well, I don't know. I don't know how our Patreon money works, but probably. I would also love that live wallpaper, please. Download Wallpaper Engine on Steam and type in whatever the name of this zone is. It's called like Hallowfall or something like that. Whatever the name of the zone is on in the War Within. You just type that in and then it's there. Max, did you manage to figure out the roster for the race, or are you going to have to wait for Heroic Week? What do you mean? Like, who's going to be in our guild for the race? That's usually what people mean by roster, but I'm assuming you mean comp? Comp is changing every week. Like, I mean, it's really weird. There's nothing really been like it, but like for the past couple weeks, if I were to make you a comp for the raid, it would have changed every week based on tuning. Tuning is still pretty volatile. So it'll probably be during Heroic Week or like right before it when you have like somewhat of an idea of what they're giving to you. But like, I still feel like the changes could be so big. Max, did you see a guy made Queen Ansarek guide like they did for Fyrakk with just Dungeon Journal? It's really visual too. No, that's great if they did though. I haven't seen that. Hey Max, when was the last time you had a breakfast burrito and why wasn't it today? I don't like breakfast burritos at all. Breakfast burritos kind of fuck my whole vibe up. The only thing that I've had in my life that was kind of like a breakfast burrito that I really, really liked was, and I haven't had one of these in years, but they were from Taco Bell's breakfast. They were called like, bro, what the fuck are they called? Taco Bell breakfast. No, not near me. Just like, give me like a... Give me a fucking... I don't know, like images. Give me images. This thing. Definitely gonna dox yourself on accident. Nah, my Firefox doesn't know my address. Whatever this is. This isn't really a breakfast burrito, but it is. Like, it is a breakfast burrito, right? Like, it is things wrapped in a tortilla, depending on how they call it a crunch wrap, but it's like, it's a fucking burrito, right? It's everything that a burrito is. It's just wrapped differently. Anyways, these things fucking slap. They're fucking amazing. Oh my god, are they good? But that's like the only thing I've ever had breakfast burrito. I'm a burrito enjoyer, just not for breakfast. You know, I am increasingly, because I subscribe to a meal service that sends me breakfast every day, and the ones I enjoy the most, they send me these like, it'll be like eggs, sausage, and like a couple of waffles or pancakes. And it's exactly the macros I want too, which is really good. But like, I don't know, dude. Pancakes and waffles just go so fucking crazy, man. I crave them every morning. I've had them for like a couple months too. But yeah, it's been nice. Have you checked on the Spiritborn class in D4 yet? Nope. I'm sure I will when it comes out. That's going to be after the race, so... Everything that's after a Race to World First is like one big void for me. Like, it's just all going to happen at some point, but until the race is over, I don't think about it once. AUG versus Dev for the War Within rating for a casual AOTC player. Just play whatever the fuck you want. If you're a casual AOTC player, the only answer to what you should be playing is whatever the fuck you want. There's nothing else makes sense. Max, are you tracking macros and calories? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. What is it? Hey Max, I know you don't really read YouTube chat, but I just wanted to pop in and say I'm super excited to see the Race World first. I've not been this excited for a WoW X pack in a long time. Let's go. I did read YouTube chat though, so stay small and mad. When does the WoW expansion come out? 2 weeks? Something like that? And I'm referring to early access. Like early access is the when it comes out. If you play it after early access, you're playing it late. Do you know what is weird? I've heard I made a statement recently and I'm like, dude, I think early access in an MMO is really shit and I hate that WoW is bringing that. And then I got a few comments saying, Max, you don't understand, Final Fantasy has done this for multiple expansions. And to my knowledge, that's wrong, right? So here's how I believe Final Fantasy works. If you pre-order the expansion, you get access to it early. But pre-ordering the expansion, you can pre-order the base edition. It doesn't have to be the deluxe edition. It doesn't have to be the giga expensive edition. If you just pre-order the game, you get access to it early. And that's not like paid early access. In fact, it's the most confusing thing to me ever. How is that any different? Why? So the release date is just earlier. Why do they even call it early access? It's just whenever you buy the game, you can play it. Pre-ordering, there's no importance of it being a pre-order. The game just comes out early. It gets people to pre-order, but you don't get anything special for pre-order. You could pre-order it 2 months earlier, or you could, in quotes, pre-order it during the early access and instantly get access to the game. Like, it's actually so confusing. It's either how anyone could be swayed by that, if it's like deceptive marketing or something. That's the only like positive argument for Square Enix, is that they're like tricking people into buying it. You can't pre-order during early access. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. I had a friend do it because I played Endwalker and like pre-ordered the expansion and got early access, and they saw that people were on an early access and just like bought the game and could play it immediately. There's no early access. Just like the game just comes out a few days earlier than it states it does. It's so weird. So anyways, I just think that's totally different. The reason that someone brought this up to me is they said, no, why are you getting mad at Blizzard? Final Fantasy has done this for a while. Bro, what Blizzard is doing is some greedy scumbag bullshit. They're like, hey, pay us an extra $30 for this expansion or you're going to feel left out. That's what they're doing. And I think that's dog shit. Final Fantasy doesn't do that. What is it? You don't have to buy it? Life not fair. Pay $30 or don't, bitch. I think it's still worth criticizing these games. Because, like, it doesn't matter what I'm saying. What matters is what I do. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy that every time. As a streamer, I'm not going to play the expansion late. Ain't no way. Lose a ton of viewers, lose money. It's not worth it. Right? So I don't care enough to, like, protest against it, you know? And maybe that says all you need to know. But that being said, I think giving games your feedback, negative feedback, is really worth it. I'll give you an example. Do you guys know that, like, if all of these companies never got any negative backlash for things they did, do you know everything by now would be a gacha mobile phone game? Literally everything. Those games make money hand over fist. They just make money infinitely. In the West, these games have to, like, Eastern games have to make a West version that will be acceptable because they know that, like, if they just give us the regular version, everyone's going to hate it because, like, we're so averse to that. And it's good that we're averse to that because that's keeping all these AAA companies from doing it or doing it as much as they want to. Countries like Russia, China, Korea, these Eastern European countries, especially, people who are younger generations, even in America, they're like already okay with the pay to win gacha model, and they're used to it, and they like it, and they get marketed stuff like that. It's only a matter of time until, you know, more of those people exist and these companies can start getting away with it, and every game is like that. So even though I'm not gonna like not buy the early access thing in WoW, but I think it is worth still voicing your displeasure or distaste in what they're doing, because that's the only thing keeping gaming from becoming a fucking hellscape of mobile games. So, or mobile game like monetary design. Genshin Western version is identical to the Asian one. Yeah, so mobile games, that's not true, but for other games. So Lost Ark, for example, Terrace Land, totally different than it is in China. Um, uh, I think there's some other examples too. Like just most like PC MMOs that release in the East have to take time to make a version for the West that is less pay to winny, uh, because of culture differences. That is definitely true. Not specifically for mobile games, but yeah. What is it? China just banned all gacha and gambling systems to hook people in game. Wait, really? That's amazing. If that's true, every country should do that. Like actually, every country should do that. That's so smart. Because people just aren't smart enough to deal with it, man. Like people, the same thing that would get you addicted to gambling. I mean, I'm not a gambling guy either. I think gambling is bad, but yeah, I mean, you're just saving people from themselves for sure. Like I don't think people who are well off that spend money on those, a lot of money on those games, because they're basically, it's not affecting their livelihood, and they can spend money because they're basically spending a lot of money just for fun. The I don't think those people need to be saved. I think those people know what they're doing. I think the people who play those games that don't have the means to spend, but they literally can't help themselves, those are the people who need to be saved by laws like that, and there are tons of those people. What is it? I think China announced it, but it got scrapped. Okay, that's even more sad. Well, okay, they should not scrap it though. Some countries should do that. Like I doubt they will, because like I don't know if other countries' government is the same, but like these companies make so much money that they probably are pretty powerful and have a lot of influence, right? Like TurboTax, right? TurboTax got so big that the government, it is possible with the US government right now for you to go to a website and just type in like your information, and it tells you exactly how much you owe on taxes or how much the government owes you, because most people who work a 9 to 5 already, the government already has all of that information. And it's that simple. But like TurboTax lobbied against that to make it as difficult as possible so they could keep making money. Like there's always going to be corporate and government interests like intertwining and not lining up. So I doubt it'd be hard, because like those companies are going to try as hard as they possibly can to make sure that you don't ban the games that make them all the money. Max, it got scrapped because of backlash. Addiction went too far. Wait, so China was going to ban the gacha systems in games, and it got scrapped because of public backlash? If that's true, that is fucking so sad, because that's basically saying it went on so long that it went on so long that people liked it and got addicted to it so much that, oh, that is actually so sad if that's true. Do we make laws to stop people from spending too much on tech items, food, vehicles, and homes? It's your money. Spend it how you will. Why do people decide who or how you get to spend your money? That's one side of the argument. That would basically be anyone ever opposing any kind of laws that would ban anything you could spend money on. But I also think there's definitely room to talk about, like, as a government, if, like, the people in your country are irresponsibly spending money on nothing and they can't stop themselves, I think the government saving them from themselves is something that isn't the worst idea, for sure. But you would have opposition to it, and it would largely line up with what you're saying. How should you be able to spend my money is probably the number one. How should you be the one to tell me how to spend my money would be the number one argument against that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. Right, it's like a who wins thing. Like, basically, how many people are you saving from themselves versus people that now can't do what they want to do and we're perfectly responsible with it? Which one has more people, or enough more to make that make sense? Max, is Trill coming back for the War Within? Yeah, he was in town for a PvP tournament that they won earlier in the year. And I told Sea-Doo and them that if they won the tournament, I'd take them out to dinner at a nice restaurant, and I did. And then during the dinner, Trill just kept talking about how much he wanted to race again, and it was in front of his PvP team too. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there was like some issues in the past with like the PvP team and like me fighting over custody of him, like unironically. Like during the race, they would want him to like stay up after farming in Heroic Week or after Mythic Raid in Q3s, and then also, like, instead of, there was a scenario in the past where he was actually at a PvP LAN and had to skip a couple practices to practice MDI with us on his laptop. So, like, he was clearly spread too thin in multiple areas. So if he wanted to come back and raid, I told him it was only under one condition. That, because, like, this is part of the reason he wasn't raiding here before. I'm not willing to split time with anyone. Like, if you're gonna take time to PvP, if you're thinking about PvP, if you're losing hours of sleep leading up to the race because you're staying up after our farming time to do threes, that's not going to work. Like, you can't do that. I don't want you to raid here if you're doing that. So I got him to get ready for the race, and he's doing only the race until the race ends. And then good news is once the race ends, you can do whatever the fuck you want for 5 months, you know. But there is no mixing up of time in between then, and he said he thinks that can work based on the way that the PvP is going to work out at the beginning of the season. So yo, what did the overall medal counts end up being? Let's see, Olympic medal count. So we tied for gold with China. Don't they have more people than us, though? That's a W. That's a population size W. Also, I feel like the two metrics that people go off of is the total amount of gold medals or like overall medal count, but both of those seem wrong. Like, shouldn't it be like some kind of 3-2-1 system or some kind of weighted, like, if you really want to determine who wins at the Olympics, which I imagine not a lot of people outside of people in the US or like China actually care about that because they're not close. Wouldn't you do like some kind of, or per capita rankings? That's a good one too. Weighted by population, but also weighted by gold medals. Like in medal count, a bronze counts as much as a gold. That doesn't make sense, right? So like clearly, if you're gonna do medal count, it should be based off of like, you know, like a gold gets you 3 points, a silver gets you 2, a bronze gets you 1, or something like that. I heard there is no official rankings. This is determined by the media. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of the idea, right? The point of the Olympics isn't to decide who wins overall. It's to decide who wins in each of these individual sports. But you know how we are in America. Everyone has to win or lose. So I'm sure a lot of countries are like that. Max, I need your advice. I have to write my master's thesis, but expansion is coming out and I want to get the 0.1% title. Please help. I would just write your master's thesis instead of doing any of that because no one gives a fuck about the 0.1% title. And you have like 3 weeks until the expansion's coming out. So get writing. And then you can, and then after the expansion comes out, you have like 2 months or not even 2. Sorry. You have like 3 weeks before anything happens at all. So you have like 5 weeks starting from right now. Or just fail, drop out of school, and become a pro WoW player. That sounds good too. That's what I did. Max 250 US to 198 China with that point system. Damn. Get absolutely shit on China. Also, imagine having more people than us. USA. USA. Dude, watching Olympic basketball was so fucking fun in this tournament. The games were actually insanely good. May Max, I don't think I've ever been banned before. Can you take this virginity, please? Yep, you're gone. Get fucking banned. I don't know how to unban you. I'm trying to unban you and it isn't working. You might just be banned forever. I don't know how to fix it. It's just not giving me an unban option when I click your name, so unfortunate. Maybe I'd have to reload my Twitch or something. Let's see. /user diabetesman1. There we go. Unban. Easy. He's back. He's back. /unban does not work for whatever reason for me. It doesn't do anything. Max, gaming is touted as being at the next Olympics. If so, what games? Yeah, I know the IOC made some kind of deal with the Saudis, right? To do that. Very similar to the Esports World Cup going on right now. Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I think that could be pretty cool. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be pretty good viewership because there's never been anything like that, right? There's never been like country. There's been like NA versus EU that people get super into in gaming. But like, when have you ever seen like Team Ukraine versus Team USA or Team France versus whatever? Like, you'd actually get behind the people from your nation. Wait, they said no FPS games? What? I mean, that's just a fucking Mickey Mouse Olympics then. Like, that's crazy. Why no FPS games? They don't want violence in the, what a bunch of fucking, okay, it's a total meme. Nothing to talk about. That's complete Mickey Mouse dog shit. Fucking boomers. Yep, all right. Max, been doing much prep yet for the race? Yeah. Yeah. Max, do you ever watch the Cowboys since you spend a lot of time with them as a sponsor? My dad's an Eagles fan. I don't really like the Cowboys. I don't really like the Eagles really much either, but I'm pretty sure my dad would kill me if I was a Cowboys fan. Let's see. Do you think Zalateth is the Void Lord or an old god? I don't know who that is. Let's see. Big props to America for getting more medals than anyone else. Well played, though I feel if Olympics winners were decided fairly, Japan, France, or the UK would crush it since they're the size of a single U.S. state and got half the medals of the whole U.S. Yeah, but that's not how it's counted, though. Have more babies or something. Stay small. Grow your population then, big dog. Acquire more land. You lose. L. Huge L. Massive L for you guys. Just start cranking them out, man. Max, I blame you for Ret Aura's removal and us not having a proper utility button in most content. Since Paladins have 2 useful raid auras is a problem, we gained nothing and lost a lot of our utility. What did you lose utility-wise? Also, dude, okay, this is the most, like, biased argument ever. Like, no, the only person ever who is going to be in favor of any class having 2 required raid buffs is going to be people who play exactly that class, and everyone else disagrees. It's just, it's ridiculous that anyone should have that. Also, Red Paladins have insane utility. I guess the only thing that sucks for Ret is that if you're bringing a Paladin for utility, you'd rather just bring a Prot Paladin than a Ret Paladin, because a Prot Paladin brings everything a Ret Paladin brings, but also potentially spell warding. Max, why have you not made any more class and spec reviews going into the expansion? Stop asking me about that. I'll do any of those that I want to do. We might do one today. We also might not. I don't know. Every time you ask me, I'm less likely to do it. Or Holy Paladin brings Diva Aura and everything else. No, I don't like that argument. The whole, like, Holy Paladin not only brings Diva Aura, but brings a raid buff thing is such a cooked take. Because, like, all healers have some kind of cooldown, right? Like, if you were to place that Holy Paladin and bring a Ret Paladin, you're not losing Diva Aura, you're also gaining a Spirit Link if you were to bring a Resto Shaman instead, right? Like, healers just have cooldowns, and DPS usually don't. I mean, Rallying Cry kind of sucks now, right? So, that's just not a good argument. Plus, Diva Aura, like, the active use, the Aura Mastery of Devotion Aura, fucking sucks. It sucks. What is the number now? Is it it's 3% all the time, and is it a 9% DR when you Aura Mastery it? It was 12 before. So it was a 9% actual on use, but isn't it like a 6% now, or is it still 9? Like, it's fucking bad. Whatever it is, it's fucking really bad. Like, it is not... It is, like, probably the worst raid cooldown. Aura Mastery should be class-wide? No, it shouldn't. Why? Why would that be class... So should Spirit Link be class-wide? Should Barrier be class-wide? Like, that would be the same argument, right? No reason to bring a Ret over a Prot or Holy Pally. I mean, that's been the same case for like 4 or 5 years, yet you brought a Ret Paladin to, like, I think half of the end bosses or something. It gets played a lot. Do you think just baking AM into Devo making it any better, going from 3 to... No, these questions are so bad. This might be an early one today. One second. Okay. Did they ever actually fix Red Aura? Yeah, they did. And then they removed it. I forget which boss it was. I want to say it was like Sarkareth, maybe, when they finally made Red Aura work correctly, but then it was bugged in Amirdrasil and it only started working again on Tendril progression. So yeah, they like finally figured out how to make Red Aura work and then they removed it. What are you the most looking forward to playing the War Within? Windwalker at the moment. If raid buff scrolls came back, how do you think it would affect the raid? I don't know, man. It was hilarious to watch Brew pull Sark backwards to proc Red Aura. Yeah, that was so dumb. Hey Max, are you going to do that at classes? Yes. Yeah. Augmentation Evoker is the best spec in the entire game. Get mad. Oh, you just made so many people mad. Dude, I still think Augmentation Evoker has been so like misrepresented as far as like why people are mad at it. Delete Aug. Support specs are so bad, bro. If Aug just wasn't meta in Mythic Plus since it came out, people wouldn't give a fuck. That's like 90% of why people are mad. Is that they're just too good in dungeons. Right? Like if you were to poll like should Aug be deleted in any Twitch chat, whatever the answer is, the amount of yeses would decrease by at least half if they just weren't meta since they've come out. It's just the same as when rogues were too good for too long, or mages or whatever. It's just like people want change. People want things to be different. That's all it is. Max, do you have any tips for someone who is trying to get into a higher cutting edge rank? Not really. I mean, I could make some shit up, but you'd probably get better information from someone who actually knows what it's like to do that. I'll make some shit up though. Like play the game a lot, get better, get good logs, do Mythic Plus with someone in a higher rank guild than you, get invited to their guild, repeat that over and over again until you're in one. Something like that. Only care about parses, avoid all mechanics. That may get you into unfortunately, that may get you into one of those guilds faster. But man, it won't make you someone. Those are the worst players, man. And I don't mean that like they bug me, like they're actually bad. Like if you're in a cutting edge guild, you do not want that player. But there is a lot of guilds who purely recruit based off logs, which kind of incentivizes that behavior. What about start a Twitch stream, get 1K viewers, and then get a free invite? I mean, that is an option, I guess. But that's also, like, unbelievably fucking harder than just getting invited natty. Like, what's harder? Starting out as a fresh WoW player and finding your way into a cutting-edge guild within a year, or within that same amount of time developing a Twitch stream that gets 1,000 concurrent viewers? That's, like, fucking impossible difficulty. It's the getting a Twitch stream to 1,000 viewers is fucking crazy. Like 0.000000001% chance. Do you think it's specifically Aug being meta because it's busted, or do you think they added a few more support? Oh my god, no. Just sponsor a guild with big money under the condition that they drag you through it. Oh, so just have a lot of money and just pay for it? I mean, I guess so, yeah. Hey, Max, how many dads are on Team Liquid? That's a good question. I'm going to guess without really thinking about it. I think the answer is 0. I don't think you would have not the time. You could definitely be a dad and do this, but it's more of like a chicken before the egg thing. Like, if you had been a dad for a long time, it's likely that you wouldn't have had the time to get good enough to do this. Like, if someone were to have a kid now, you'd be able to sustain this because you're already here. But, like, if you would have had a kid during your formative years of getting good enough to do this, it would have been pretty much impossible. Like, is it a coincidence that almost everyone in Echo and Liquid is either living with their parents, doesn't have a job, and for whatever reason had like a situation in their life where they were just able for years and years at a time to play WoW for 16 hours a day? That is probably the only way they could have gotten. If you guys were competing against them and you just had to work for 8 hours a day and then came home and gamed, you'd have no fucking chance. Because even if you're smarter, more intuitive, like your theoretical potential is higher, you just can't beat someone who's playing the game for 16 hours a day. They're just going to be better than you, right? So I don't think we have any dads in our guild, and that's probably by design. Not because, like, it's not in our recruiting process. It's not like we're like, hey, so you have a kid? And then we just don't invite them. It's more like it's very unlikely you would ever get to the skill level required to be in this guild if for the years of you getting good at this game, you had kids and that reduced the amount of time you had to play. Most likely. Not to say it would be impossible. It would just be extremely, extremely unlikely. Max, your legs are showing again, and then in all caps, slut. You're right. I do have I have my knee on the screen right now. What is it? I know a lot of people that play the game for 18 hours a day for years and are still very bad, myself included. Well, that's not the argument I'm making, right? I'm not saying that if you play 16 hours a day, you're going to be really good. I'm saying that if you are competing against, if you are really good and you're competing against someone who plays for twice the amount as you, and they're also just as good as you, they're going to end up being way fucking better, right? It's not that playing all day guarantees you to be good. It's just that if you're taking someone already with a really naturally high skill set, super smart, really intuitive, and they're also putting in twice the hours, you have no chance. Yeah. Scripe is a dad gamer and Race World First Raider. No. I feel like you didn't listen to anything I just said, but that's okay. I oftentimes am also bad at listening. But that's fine. Let's see. Hey, Max, which class do you think right now is the best class tree? That's a great question, actually. I haven't thought about that. Let's see. Let's see. Who are the contenders? Best class tree. New DK1's pretty fucking good. I don't think it's top, though. It's definitely not Demon Hunter. It's definitely not Druid. I need to think about Evoker. Evoker's still really weird. Like, I feel like Evoker's class tree is still so different than everyone else's because Evoker came out at the same time class trees were released, and so much more of their baseline power and utility is just built into their class tree as opposed to every other class. It's almost unrelatable. Like, Evokers and class trees are almost inseparable because it's just, they just are that, right? So I'm just going to leave Evoker out of it, actually. In the future, though, that's more of an interesting conversation. But I think for now, it's still just like the class. But I actually don't know how good or bad Hunters is since the changes. I know it's better than it was before, but Mage, same thing. I really like how they put, like, the defensives down here, but it's just also just so much power. New Monk one is fucking banger, actually. I would say Monk is probably top 3. You get everything you want, and then you get a bunch of points to spend on cool little unique things that are based on the fight, the content, or whatever. It's really good. I feel like the Paladin one kind of sucks, right? Because, like, you have, like, some points to spend in the middle, but then at the end, it's just, like, the same build every time. You just take the stats that are good for you. You go down and take Zealots, you go down and take Divine Toll, and then you go down and take this. You get all 3 capstones, at least for Ret. Maybe it's more interesting for the other specs. Priest, I have no opinion. Rogue, I believe, isn't good. Um, Shaman got like reworked again recently. I don't think their class tree got a ton of reworks, but I don't think like their class tree is horrible. I don't know anything about warlocks, and I don't know anything about warriors. So the answer is probably monk, DK, and then maybe like shaman, hunter. I don't know. Just I don't know. The answer is I don't really know. One of these classes I don't know really well, probably. Max, are you finished with D4? Yeah, I built a lightning spear sork, and I like basically capped out the character's power, and I'm pretty done with it. I had a lot of fun though. It's really fun. Max, what do you think the average IQ of Liquid? I don't know. Is it too much to ask Blizzard to make Divine Toll baseline? Baseline's interesting because, like, I still think to this day there's a huge... Why are you posting a shrimp, bro? I'm, like, leaned all the way back. This is the opposite of shrimping. I'm, like... I don't know what the opposite of shrimping is, but that's what I'm doing. A lot of people still that only look at the game from, like, a top-level perspective. Or, like, not even top level. I mean literally max level. Like, I only play the game at max level. I play the game for its end game. That's like most people who watch WoW Twitch streams. A lot of people, including myself, until I actually leveled again in Mop Remix on beta, or on PTR for Mop Remix, I was thinking about, like, oh, it's really cool that you unlock these the way you unlock these. Like, every level feels meaningful when you're leveling, and that's why you have a lot of these things. So, like, a lot of people want things baseline. They're like, why do I have to pick this spell that I've always had? Why do I have to pick this? Why do I have to pick Pillar of Frost? I've just had Pillar of Frost. It wasn't a talent before. You're just misunderstanding the balance between them trying to make a cool leveling process, especially for newer players, which I admit is actually kind of nice to do. Like, when you're leveling, like, the way you get things is really cool. And yeah, I don't know. But as far as making Divine Toll baseline, I mean, they had Divine Toll in the spec trees before, and then I think they moved it into the class tree. But you're right that it's like Divine Toll is something where it feels like it's just part of Paladin. Like, if you didn't have Divine Toll as any Paladin spec, you would just feel like a total idiot. Please keep pointing out how absolute dog shit the Druid class tree is. I've done it a lot. I've pointed it out many times. I feel like what's holding them back is they have this, like, they have these columns. It's like a feral column, a guardian column, a resto column, and a balance column, and they tried to keep everything thematic to a fault. Like, the worst parts of the class tree for sure are these two required nodes. Okay, so Oakskin, every single spec needs this, and Thick Hide, every single spec needs this. But because they're like Guardian and Feral, like, themed kind of, even Oakskin, you could even make the argument that it's not. They're like locked behind Guardian and Feral things. Well-honed instincts too. Yeah, sure. But like, it's the same point, right? Like, they need to find a way to, like, make an exception for those few talents and get away from the theme for better gameplay, which I would be a fan of, or they need to rethink the theme of their tree. Because, like, when you look at it, it all makes sense. This is all Moonkin type things. These are all Resto type things. It just happens that damage reduction is something that happens to be extremely required at all times, and naturally, all of those things are under the Feral and Guardian tree, but they're just impossible to get. So if you want well-honed instincts in Oakskin as a Moonkin, which, spoiler alert, you need both of those things, and also you probably need some Mythic Plus utility in these things, you have to spend 3 points, arguably 2 points, in something you would never take for any reason. Shred, Rake, Mangle, and Thrash damage increased by 5%. Insanity. Dog shit. Right? Absolute dog shit that you have to do that. To get Thick Hide, you have to take Iron Fur, something you're never going to press, right? Or you have to take physical damage, something you're never going to press, right? There should be, like, I don't know, a line from Hibernate, but you don't even want Hibernate all the time. Like, it's extremely fucking cooked, right? I don't know. It's a problem. It's definitely a problem. I don't know how many times you can bring it up, but it's a problem. Extremely disappointed the Olympics are over. Dude, I watched a ton of the Olympics. I actually had a really good time. I watched more Olympics this time than I did probably the last couple combined. I was a huge fan. They were great. Honestly, I'm like a pretty not a Peacock hater because it just exists, but I guess I'm just like, why are there so many streaming services? Not gonna lie, the Olympics being on Peacock kind of went hard as fuck. Like if you ever miss something or wanted to watch a replay of something, you could just go to the app and just fucking instantly find a replay of the thing you wanted to watch. Like it was honestly like I feel like NBC, Peacock, whatever, they fucking nailed it. Like they did as well, at least in America. They totally nailed the coverage of it. "2028 LA Olympics will be a banger." Yeah, I think as a spectator, but I'm going to tell you, if I'm ever going to move out of LA, it's going to be before that. Because there is a special kind of hellscape that has not been experienced yet that is going to be what traffic is like in LA during not just the Olympics, but the setup for the infrastructure of the Olympics is just going to be fucking awful. So, I don't know how that's going to go. Apart from the horrendous breakdancing from Australia, yo, that shit was hilarious. Dude, I feel like the Australian breakdancing was worth the meme potential. Like, that shit was hilarious. Makes me wonder again, how does Twitch still have no instant replay? Do you mean like YouTube streams? Like here, YouTube maximum. If I go to live and then I look at my stream, like, and then I want to just replay it 2 seconds ago, I can just rewind it and I'm right there, right? Why does Twitch not have that? Is that what you're saying? That I think is by far the best part of YouTube streaming, that you can do that. So I asked an executive at Twitch, like, why they don't implement this feature. I'm like, dude, if you, this is like by far the biggest quality increase. And I think the answer I got roughly was like the cost wouldn't be worth it. Like, are people just going to start watching Twitch VODs now instead of YouTube VODs if they do that? How many and how much it would cost? They just don't think it's a good business decision, which I mean, I don't know anything about it. They probably know more than me. I mean, I would like to think that they're probably right because, like, it's been so obvious for so long that if it was easy to do, you'd think they're an actual fucking fool for not doing it. Like, just a complete idiot, right? So it has to be obscenely expensive due to something I don't understand. That's the only thing I can think of. Look at the Twitch app. Oh, I haven't seen the Twitch app. I heard they changed it. I heard it's like some TikTok scrolling nonsense now. It's bad. Where can I see it besides like opening up my phone? Okay, you know what? I was gonna like try to look at it on screen. Max, not sure if you've said this somewhere, but which day is your Morgan Day interview? It's like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday this week. I don't know. Like, I was told the date. I just can't remember off the top of my head. What's going to happen is I'm going to wake up one of those days, and then I'm going to find out, and then I'm going to proc an interview. That way, every day is exciting when you wake up. All right. Let me open the Twitch app here. Oh my god. It's so different. Okay, I mean, the home page is what's mainly different. You just scroll and you like, it scrolls between, I'm assuming, your most watched streams. Like, I'm just scrolling right now and it's just straight up going from the streams I normally watch. Honestly, yeah, this is going to be kind of unpopular, but as someone who almost never watches Twitch on mobile, I kind of fuck with this. I don't know why, but just being able to scroll through the question is, where's my follower page? So if I go to search, wait, where is my following page? Is the following page supposed to be your home screen that you scroll through? So they're trying to, oh, I bet they intentionally removed the follower page because the follower page is like literally the home page. Oh no, you can just click it right there. Like you go on the home page, you click the top left, and then you can see your following page. So here's my take on it after seeing it for 5 seconds. I think no matter what, when you do, even if it's the right UI or the wrong UI, anytime you do a major UI change, everyone's going to be instantly super fucking mad. Even if it's the best thing ever or the worst thing ever, because it's just not what they're used to, and people are prone to complain about things. But my guess right away is I actually kind of like this for whatever reason. I could see why you wouldn't like it. I don't use the Twitch app a lot, so maybe my opinion doesn't matter. But, like, I actually kind of fuck with this. Like, opening multiple streams really fast, like, you're not going to click on their name, but just swiping and, like, instantly having the stream pulled up. Like, I'm swiping between 2 people right now, Dorky and a couple other people, and it's, like, instantly loading their stream. And it's, like, right away. Kind of nice. Speaking of something similar to that, though, that I absolutely fucking hate, coming from someone that never uses it, yeah, I mean, I would like to think I understand how good UI stuff works, though. But yeah, I mean, you could completely disregard my opinion. I don't go on the Twitch app a lot. Or just in general, why did you care about my opinion? But there was one thing I hate, bro. Twitter started doing this thing where if you watch a video, when it ends, it doesn't replay the video. It just starts a completely random new one, and I really hate that. Like, I strongly, strongly fucking hate that. Wait, someone said you can turn it off? How? How? Oh my god, we're all gonna do this right now. How can you turn it off? Settings. How? It's not in general settings? Okay, so let me watch a video right now. Settings. It says playback speed. It mentions nothing about autoplay. Yeah, there's no autoplay. Even when you turn it off, when you open the app again after a day, it resets. Okay, tap on settings and privacy. Under settings and support section. I don't see that. It's, oh, on mobile. Okay, sorry, I'm changing this right now. This actually ruins my whole fucking day, so I'm gonna... Okay. Phone, settings and support, settings and privacy, accessibility. Display and languages. No, display and sound doesn't show up. Accessibility. Video audio play. Never. You can change it. All right, guys, everyone pull your phones out. I'm going to save your life right now if you use this shitty app. On your phone. Listen closely. You go to settings. So you click your little thing on the top left. You go to settings and privacy. After that, You go to accessibility, display, and languages. After that, you go to accessibility. After that, you scroll down. It says video audio play, and it says only on cellular or Wi-Fi, only on Wi-Fi. You just select never, and then it's gone. Holy fuck. Let me practice. Let me try this now. What's the first cooked ass video I see on this app? Wait, now no videos are playing. Dude, that's so dog shit. Wait. Oh, I see. So like when you turn off autoplay, it's not turning off auto scrolling, it's turning off videos automatically playing on your thing. So the videos just won't load. All right, this is trash. This app has gotten so much fucking worse. Speaking of UIs, can you please ask Morgan about custom aura tracking for the default nameplates and personal resource display in your interview? Great question. I still need to figure out what's going to be in my interview. Where is it? This looks like an old notepad. Is there a new one? Oh, here we go. So with Heroic Week back and Mythic Zero being the only dungeon variant available, why were the rewards nerfed from the Season 4 Dragonflight equivalent? Any plans for warbands to make it catch up faster for alts, especially in the crest department or upgrade cost? Raid buffs, when mentioned in a prior interview, were said to really only exist to make sure in a Mythic raid you have one of every class. So ideally the buff is as strong as it needs to be to make that happen, but not any stronger than that. Do you have any concerns of the strength of some raid buffs over others that can dictate the Mythic Plus meta for sometimes an entire expansion? Are you planning fewer boss nerfs as gear will scale longer into the season and inclusion of new scaling rate power increase? What is the reasoning behind depleting keys, giving you less crest as a penalty? Is it not sufficient enough of a penalty to not get score for a higher key, but also less crest? Players may feel obligated to spam easy, less challenging keys for farming crest rather than challenging themselves to higher keys. In a raid fight, are there paragraphs, not questions? I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I'm going to do it however I want. In a raid fight or a dungeon boss, you can't knock back stone or stop boss mechanics and trash packs. It's becoming more popular to make mobs never cast anything. Do you find this difficult to design an ideal trash experience? Not knowing exactly what is going to be stopped or let through, especially different skill level groups. Any thoughts on adding a reward bridge between the portals you get between a 10 and a... Oh, I want to delete that. That's not good enough. Are you concerned about players feeling significantly weaker going into a new season after getting used to the 18% damage and healing? That's also a stupid question. With higher keys already feeling like the burden is on staying alive and not really pushing the limits of damage needing to time it, are you concerned with tripling the penalty of death that it will only compound that feeling? That's a good question. Okay, so other questions. And I kind of need to send these in. Oh, here's one I was thinking. We have our first Heroic Week. Back in the War Within since Shadowlands. Is this the plan going forward or just a beginning of expansion thing? What are the pros and cons of a Heroic Week versus simultaneous release? Will augmentation log hooks ever work again? Okay. That's not gonna ask that, but I can probably ask that in a more. Okay, does anyone have any ideas of I can reorder a lot of these questions, but like, does any of you guys have anything here that is actually good? Because I need to send these in. Sprinkle some positive questions in. What? That positive or negative questions. The only reason to ask questions is stuff we want the answer to. I'm not being mean in any of the questions. I'm just asking things. What is a positive question? Morgan, are you enjoying your time working recently? Question mark. Are you having a good time? What's life like, Morgan? Smile. Hi, Max. Off topic, but I'm a researcher for team culture and team performance. I've been following your videos and streams for a while, and I've been really interested in some comments you've made about Liquid's culture during the race, in particular about the jovial tone and the ability to talk about mistakes even when the stakes are high. I would love a chance to pick your brain about this if possible. It's the best way to reach you. Unironically, the best way to reach me is by typing this question, because if you message me on Discord, message me on Twitter, message my representation, there's an extremely low chance that you would get to me, so you already won that battle. Yeah, you can add me on Discord. I don't know what my Discord name is. I think my Discord name is just Maximum with like no letters or anything, but I'm not sure. So try adding that, and if it doesn't work, let me know. And then just like send me a message request. So just like try to type to me, and I should find it. Max, are you and JPC still boys? No, I hate him. Hello again. Oh, shit, he already messaged me on Discord. Okay, I'm a guy from Denmark and the con... Oh, cool. Shit, I don't know. When am I available? I am interested in this. I never know when I'm free until I am. This doesn't help much. Amen. All right. All good. We don't need to set this up right now. No, we kind of do, or else I'm gonna forget about it forever. How long do you want to pick my brain? Is it like 15 minutes? Because we can just do that shit right now. I'll just call you. I'll just fucking do it live. $15 to 30 minutes? Oh, Jesus Christ. That second number is scary. All right, fuck it. Wait, let me read this. Yeah, I think we just slam this. I need to eat food though, so let me eat food first, or else I'm gonna forget. Why not just have him send messages on Cord? It takes too long. It'd lose my interest. Be right back. I'll prep for a bit. Yeah, sure. We'll do it as soon as I'm done eating my food. Max, I just got here. Do you have an interview scheduled soon? I have an interview sometime this week. I genuinely do not know what day it is. It could be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. It's one of those days. No, Max is just a slut. Why did... Guys, come on. Okay, guys, any more actual good questions, though, by the way, before I slam this in? They wanted these questions like 2 weeks ago. I really need to send them today. What are the topics for the questions? The topic is I can ask associate game director questions about his game. What is their opinion on Mythic Plus farming and validating heroic gear progression? I think they're giving you their opinion. I think that's why Heroic Week exists. They had the biggest problem last expansion of making Heroic Raid irrelevant. There's never a point where Heroic Raid is something you want, really. It's like kind of Mythic Plus gear is just better. I think they changed that this tier by giving you Heroic Week. I think that's the answer, whether they say it or not. With the popularity in Mage, is there a chance other classes get... No, these are only the... I've already asked the alt gearing question. I think, right? Any plans for warbands to make the catch-up faster for alts, especially in the crest department? Or nerfing the upgrade cost? That's that question. Anything about the defensive bloat? They've answered that in a previous interview. When is the interview? Sometime this week. Actually, I can find out when it is. 1 second. Let's try something. When is August 15th? Four days? Yeah, but like what day of the week? Thursday? Okay, it's on Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Let's fucking go, chat. Now, I'm not going to remember that until I wake up on Thursday, but now you all know. What time zone? I don't know. They did not state. We both live in California, so probably that time. Is the goal for non-mythic raiders to wear full crafted gear again, since the only way to earn mythic tier is from vault and mythic raid? I mean, you already answered your own question. The answer to that is obviously yes. They're telling you within their game design, if you don't want to mythic raid, the only way to get mythic gear is to craft it or to get it from your mythic plus vault. That's explained to you already. You basically want to ask them why, right? You don't want the answer to that question because you already know. Question, would you ever want a blind race world first where nobody knows about the boss mechanics and you have to find it out on the fly? Absolutely. No question. That would be sweet. No dungeon journal, you just log in, fucking figure it all out on the fly, no testing, that'd be dope. But I don't think that would be a better game for everyone. It would make the race really cool. It wouldn't change anything else for anyone, and it would probably have a less quality thing being made. Max, question to you. How do you manage to not forget the whole interview thing if you can't remember the date and time? What? How can I not forget that an interview is happening but not remember the date and time? I don't know. I just have a habit of waking up and having people tell me what's happening that day. That's what happens. So, I know it's like generally happening in the future, but I just don't make a good habit of remembering myself when things are happening. If I were you, I would remember Friday and be like, oh shit, there was an interview. No, I guess it's an interesting question. Like, maybe just the way I intake information is different. Like, I know things are always generally happening in the future or in the near future, but just I'm not good with times and dates. All right, guys, we're gonna call this guy live. I gotta get my food and finish it though. Max, gonna repost this question here because we're not reading YouTube chat. Can you please ask Morgan about custom aura tracking for default nameplates? Oh, yes, that's it. That's what I wanted to do. Any plans on updating buff/debuff tracking and nameplates in the default UI? Maybe I could even spice this up a little bit. Be like, a lot of the improvements you made in Dragonflight made the base UI very close to a heavily modded, in quotes, optimal UI. With only a few areas remaining that most players would say is lacking. And then say, are there any plans on updating buff and debuff tracking and nameplates in default UI? And if he wants examples, I can give him them. I can give him examples. I think WoW would legit see a player base rise if they banned most add-ons. I think that is unbelievably false, what you just said. That is a take. What you just said, I am so strongly sure that the answer to that is wrong. Because, like, it's not like there's this group of people that are sitting around waiting for reasons to come back to the game or whatever, or playing it for the first time. You see a lot of those people complain about add-ons, but like it's really easy to complain about something and be like, okay, well, I wish they would just revamp the game, remove all add-ons, and build them all in. Well, the reason you hear that from people who have already quit the game is because they don't care about the fallout that would happen in between. They just maybe will come back in the future, right? Those people would not immediately come back. It would be, the game would cause a lot of problems. Not to mention there's a lot of add-ons in the game that people who play this game very casually fucking love and are great for the game. And it would be objectively worse if they removed them. There is no worse fucking take in WoW than like you should immediately remove all add-ons. It's just not a thing. Like if they were to create a new game, absolutely. There's a lot of arguments you could make about WoW where it's like, if you were to make a new game of WoW right now, it has never existed before, would you do things differently? Would you have less buttons? Yes. Would you have 10-man raids and not 20? Yes. Would you have no add-ons and build the stuff in? Probably. But doing that to the existing game would just remove so many things that are really good that other people have made
and it doesn't really hurt you at all. Like the only add-ons I think that are problematic in the game are any raid-related like weak aura solving things. I think pretty much all other add-ons in the game just simply make the game better. And it is just not worth to if the only way to remove the raid-related ones is to remove all of them, it's just the trade is bad. Like, have you guys ever seen that meme where it's like, new offer, I offer you this and you get this in return? The trade, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. What are we doing now? Right now I'm preparing for an interview next week, but I do actually have a person, someone from Denmark who is doing some research right now, and he wanted to ask me some questions about how we run our guild and how we handle things. And I'm going to do that right after I finish my food, or else I'll forget about it forever. What is it? Ask Morgan about their development strategies in terms of reacting to community feedback versus following what they had planned, since some major changes for the War Within clearly weren't planned ahead of time. What answer do you want from that? So what's obviously true is that like a lot of the Mythic Plus changes and stuff were not going to happen, but then they ended up happening. What answer do you want? He's just going to say, we made some announcements and the community wasn't happy with that, so we changed our mind and we worked on the things that the community said. Because that's literally what happened. That is exactly what happened. But like, what's the point of asking him that? There's no one learns anything, right? That's already pretty obvious. Max, wait, is Morgan camping the stream like he did last time? Dude, he was doing that last time. I forgot about that. Morgan, like, joined the interview and he's like, don't worry, I've been stalking your stream for the last 2 hours, so I've already heard all of your thoughts. I'm like, holy fuck. Actually, that could be a question to ask. You've had half of an expansion with AUG. Should the player base expect more support classes in the future? Doesn't hurt to ask. 90% chance you get, we're not going to tell you, but what you might get, Morgan's usually pretty eloquent. He might say something like, you might find out how happy or not happy they are with how it was implemented and stuff like that. They may push back on the definition of support role, which I would push back with, it's definitely a support class. They've said that from the very beginning, that AUG is just a DPS class, but it's just like so clearly not. It just has so much more than that. No, less now. Like they gave the one thing that's on a choice node with Time Spiral. What the fuck is it called? The thing where you make healers have extra range and they can cast while moving. Oh my fucking god, what is the name of this? Spatial Paradox, yeah. Okay, so like they gave Spatial Paradox to the other specs. They nerfed the fuck out of the defensive utility that AUG brings. And now basically most of the stuff they bring, Evokers just bring. So they kind of have tuned back the support part of it, I think, in my opinion. But maybe he'll answer with that, right? All right, this guy's ready. 1 second. Let me give me like 5 to eat. What is it? Ebon Might buffing tanks and healers is still too powerful, though. Should just remove that part of the class. I mean, it's not really too powerful, right? Because you have the ability to do that in Raid, but you don't. Because buffing DPS is always better. So it's not that it's too powerful. It's just the way that AUG interacts with dungeons with only half the amount of DPS you want to buff just causes them to buff those, and that's good. I don't know. It's, definitely... I don't think that's an easy problem to solve, by the way. I actually... I think they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Are you only doing PvE type questions? Yeah. I don't give a fuck about PvP, so it wouldn't make sense for me to ask about it. That would probably be reserved for someone who wants to... And I think they've done these in the last expansion or so. Multiple times have done, like, PvP-specific interviews with PvP-specific people. Ask him to rate your warband. My warband goes fucking hard. God, my warband goes so fucking... You guys want to see my warband? Holy fuck. Let's talk about this. Here we go. Check this shit out. Yeah, I accept. Bro, check me out. Look at Shark get up. Goddamn beasts. Max dog form should be far left. Fuck you. I didn't mean that. Max, have you ever thought about doing a stream WWE style intro? What? Fuck you? Well, you're not supposed to say it back. Take it back. Take it back. Oh, that's so mean. I didn't think about how mean that could be if you just said it to me instead. Sorry? It's okay. Alright, we're cool. Holy shit. Off-tank energy. Oh, dude. I wish... Guys, I can't wait for the next Race to World Last. That's gonna be so fucking fun. Race World Last? Yeah, last. It's like, basically, it's the last day of Cutting Edge to see whether you're gonna get Cutting Edge or not. And I stay up all night and I like cast all the guilds that are streaming their potential kills. And it was a fucking bang. It was banger content. All right, I think I've eaten enough food. All right, I'm gonna call this guy. All right, guys, I'll let him introduce himself, but this guy just wants to pick my brain for a few minutes, and if I don't do it on stream, I'll never remember. All right, I'm calling him up. Oh, he's on camera. Holy shit! All right, can I put you on stream?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
All right, fuck yeah. What's up, man?
Hi, nice to meet you.
All right, so your name is Mikkel, right?
It is indeed. Am I coming through clearly? Is all good?
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about what you want, or like what do you want to talk to me about, and like what do you do right now? What's going on?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, my name's Mikkel. I work in the software industry in Denmark, and I do a bunch of research on the side about teams, team culture, team performance, and particularly how team culture affects performance. So I've been talking to a lot of different software teams in the Copenhagen region about how their ability to talk about mistakes and be vulnerable and maybe sway a bit away from very traditional techie obsessive people's behavior around these things affects what cool stuff they do.
Okay.
And I've been playing WoW for many, many years and been following your stream a lot. And I think a while back you were talking about, you made a video series with some of the guys from some of the EU guilds, and you were talking a bit about differences of culture between how you sort of handled things. And you made some particular comments that I was super interested in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and you're not a hidden echo spy, right? You're not gonna go right back to them with this information.
Oh, of course. I am DMing all of this to Gingy live as we speak.
Okay, shit.
Of course.
All right. So that's really cool. All right, what do you want to know?
Awesome. First of all, do you mind if I record this as well? I guess yours is being recorded.
It's literally being recorded. You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, so as I mentioned, I'm talking a lot about this. It's a culture of psychological safety is what some people call it. It's a very fancy word for saying how one is open to challenge the way things are, voice their concerns, opinions, and talk about mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of the very short of it all. But
yeah,
I remember you talked about at one point that something that you do quite a lot in Liquid, even during the race to world first, is like just shoot the shit a lot, even like during polls, even on hard bosses. And you also mentioned specifically, I think you mentioned this thing that sometimes when you get new recruits in, there'll be like a mechanic where someone has to soak a circle. And let's say that this new recruit is like literally standing 1 foot away from the circle, but one of your raid members was actually able to soak it and they failed. They will immediately go, "That's on me. I could have handled that."
Correct. Yeah.
And I thought to myself, like, where did that come from? And do you think that is part of what makes you so good, or like is that something you think consciously about? Is it just how you are, or what do you think?
Well, okay, so I think that's like it's a process of extreme ownership. It's like everything you could have done something better, even if it's 1% the new person's fault, or sorry, 99% the new person's fault and 1% yours. Being that person to come up ahead of it and say that you could have done something will leave an impression on them. This actually isn't something I think you would need to implement in a team that already has a really good working atmosphere. This was something we had to do because when we were in an original guild, we were made from like 5 different guilds with 5 different leadership types and morale and atmospheres, and like we were having some issues with people being really defensive with mistakes. So something we did as officers were like, okay, we're the people in the guild, we're respected. For this next tier, I want all of you, myself included, like if you could have done anything better, instantly set an example, instantly admit mistakes, try to help others. If someone else messed up, the reality is if you have a good player, they know they messed up. Even if they have a little ego thing, or even if they've been in a guild, we actually had a few players that were parts of guilds where like they had a tyrannical leader, and like when you made a mistake, they were literally conditioned to like defend themselves to the death, or else someone was going to like come after them, right? So like it's, if you've raided in an atmosphere like that for 4 or 5 years, this even can happen with new players. It's really hard to break out of that mechanism that exists in your brain where you make a mistake and you instantly feel like you have to defend yourself because you were just in an atmosphere where people attacked you for doing that, right? So a way for us to break people out of that is if you come into a guild, you're good, you know what you're doing. You wouldn't be good if you're good if you're here, right? And if you see, you know when you're making a mistake if you're good. If you make a mistake, and even people you know that are good that make a mistake and are deflecting blame, deep down they know they did it. If you start doing that and you see someone else that I think the example you used, and I'll explain it again for chat, is this is actually kind of a really old fight. Maybe I can think of a new analogy, but on like Kill Jaden, when you had to soak one of the little small circles and you're assigned spots of the room to soak them. Let's say there's a new player and he was right next to it and he didn't move. He like either didn't notice or whatever, but then there's someone else who was 5 yards away. That player, as soon as the wipe is over, know they messed up. But what you might hear the veteran player who is 5 yards away, they might be like, oh guys, that was on me. I could have soaked that. And it is true they could have soaked that. It's also true that that other person probably should have. But that player will see the ownership from the more experienced player and be like, oh shit. They might not say anything about it. They'll never talk about it, those two people, but it will leave a lasting impression on that person that it is okay to admit mistakes, immediately move on. And an atmosphere like that is really the only way at this level we can compete. If you spent 5 minutes assigning blame after all of these pulls, I mean, you'd be horrible, right? Like you have to quickly identify mistakes, problem solve, move on, go, right? So you have to be in that kind of mindset, and that's something we did a long time ago. I will mention though, we don't really have to do that anymore. That was something we did when we had a lot of people with that, like I would almost say syndrome or condition, where they felt the need to defend themselves. That isn't a thing now. I mean, if you're in this guild, you know, if you're in this guild, people know that you're good enough to be here. You don't feel insecure about that. And we have never had an issue in years. And maybe it's because we acted like that for so long, but we haven't had an issue in years where someone would unironically mess up and be like afraid to say it. So I would say this helped develop our culture, but it is unnecessary to do now.
And do you like? I'm just curious, like, how did that appear? Because what you're talking about there sounds a bit like leading by example, essentially, which is a really powerful mechanism in a lot of these things. And I just wonder, at least in let's say in programming, that's where I typically work.
Yeah.
You tend to see these profiles, not so much anymore, but you used to, like what people call the rock star developer, right? The guy who sits in his corner with his sandals and socks on and some convention hoodie, and he's super good, is what everyone says. So you don't bother John because he's super good. He's a bit of an asshole, but he's super good. Did you ever get those types of players? Because I at least know from my playing experience, I've definitely played with those kinds of guys. Or do they never make it to that level?
That's a great question. So, man, I'm trying to think. I mean, you definitely have people that like are really good and know they're good. There is a small difference, but there is a definite difference between confidence and arrogance, right? Someone who knows they're very good at something, and someone who's smart and is good at something is going to know that they're good at it, and it's exuding confidence rather than exuding I'm just better than you, right?
Right.
I would say oftentimes people like that don't make it to this level. So like here's an example of a player, someone who's really, really talented, naturally really talented, and you know, they have all the really, really high level intuition that makes you really, really good at this. You're really smart. Your ability to solve problems on your own personal level is really fast. But you have this small problem where every time you make a mistake, you have a habit of it being someone else's fault. If you're a league player, it's the jungle didn't gank when he was supposed to. If you're like someone like it's always something else could have done something better. Those people often make it like 80 to 90% of the top. They might be in a top whatever world guild, but as far as making it to the very, very top with how selective our guild and Echo has been for so long, those people don't usually quite make it to that level because they're literally prohibiting themselves from getting better. Like you admitting to yourself that you messed up is a growth tool, right? Like I messed up. How can I fix that? If you genuinely think, oh, you did everything right and this person could have done something better, you usually, even if you're very talented, just because of a bad mindset, you will end up capping out at a lot lower level than you're capable of, right? So that's pretty common. As far as still having people like that, because you see this in sports too. You see people who are absolute superstars in sports and they make it to the highest levels and they're still just me, super selfish and stuff like that. I would say that in other sports, you have the ability as an individual to have a much bigger impact than you do in WoW. In WoW, you have a 20-man raid. You can have an absolute all-star in your raid, but that's not going to really affect your guild in the same way that like a really good striker would be in football, or a basketball. In basketball, like stars are everything. Like a star dominates your ability to perform in the game. I think I don't know in WoW with 20 people if you can have that impact, and I think oftentimes in a large group environment of 20 people working together really closely, an attitude like that is so detrimental that their skill difference, if possible, wouldn't be worth the problems with working with them. So that being said, I don't think I've actually personally dealt with a lot of those players. I think they get weeded out before they get to this level. But I think even if that person made it here, they would be really hard. Like, for example, if I'm fired up, like someone in our guild who a lot of people are aware is very good, a mage player, if he was like really hard to work with and people like really didn't like admitting things, people thought he was kind of an asshole, he just wouldn't last in this guild. Like if people don't want to be around someone in this guild, we would get rid of them. I think that doesn't really happen, but that would be how we dealt with it. I think that's how most competitive teams should deal with that.
Yeah, I think that I would tend to agree, and I think I find it a bit fascinating because is that sort of part of the process of how you recruit? Do you select for this, or does it sort of just happen organically?
Never. I mean, we don't even do interviews. So in WoW, it's really unfortunate as opposed to sports, and maybe with people working with. Actually, you said you work software engineer, programming, stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay, so, how well do you think you'd be able to tell that someone was good at their job if they did a code test or some kind of thing where they just had to do some fresh out of school thing to like show your code? As far as I can tell from talking to a few software engineers, they can tell you people who are the absolute best coders that would need 8 people to do their job that would not do well on a code test going into a new job, right?
For sure.
So you know people are the shit because you work with them and you see what they're able to do with the tasks that are given to them, and there's really no way to test for that. WoW is the exact same way. So like there's no metric that could tell you if someone was good enough to do this. Logs are a complete joke. So you have to play with them, right? So like I would say it's more that. Like you just have to play with people to figure out if they're good.
Yeah, I used to be the healing officer for my Mythic Raid team and had to recruit people based on logs, and I can tell
healers
you
are the
healing
worst.
logs.
Yeah,
I'm sure you know it. But I mean, I think for from a programming perspective, you know, like typically, I guess you said there is no interview part. I remember we did recruiting for my guild. We were doing like these surveys, and people had to fill this stuff out. And I think we tried to select for this a little bit because you said like no amount of skill is worth an asshole. But do you have anything like that? Like even if it isn't an interview? Or?
Like I mean, here's how we would find someone. So typically, when we would recruit someone, it would be someone in our guild playing with someone at some point, either in some other guild or in Mythic Plus, and they'd be like, I think this guy's great. And then the next thing we would do is we would like log on some random level 1s on this person's server and just be like, we would just ask someone in their guild unprompted, who's the best player in your guild? A lot of the times they won't answer because you're just some random level 1, but every now and then you'll get a list of answers, and we would just need enough people to just definitively say that person, right? Because like I think that's the best.
Interesting.
That's the best way to find out if someone's good enough to play here is like, you know, if people who play with you are like, yo, this guy's the shit. No logs or anything, if it's a good enough guild, are going to equal like someone doing stuff like that. I think people have started to figure out that we do that. But that's like the best thing you can do because this also weeds out other things. If that person's a total fucking douchebag, how likely are random people unprompted going to answer the question of who's the best person in your guild? Not referencing logs, not referencing any kind of statistics. Are you going to say the name of the person who might be really good but everyone dislikes? Probably not. So like having someone vouch for you unprompted to someone kind of is telling you a little bit about their personality as well, because they
really
are
fascinating.
somewhat agreeable
Sorry,
or
go on.
likable. Yeah. No, sorry, you're fine. And so that's kind of why we do that, because like interviews in WoW are fake, and maybe this is true everywhere, and people still do them that are much smarter than we are. So maybe we're wrong for doing this, but I just feel like in an interview, anyone's just going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. It's kind of like a vibe check more than anything else. But someone who's not a complete idiot is just going to pass the vibe check. You just say super agreeable things that are irrelevant, and it just seems like a waste of everyone's time. So I'd rather just get them in the guild, see how they vibe in a raid, because as soon as someone new in this guild joins a raid, you're just going to have half of our players just like talking to them throughout the entire raid, and you'll get an instant vibe from this person, and I think that matters more than anything else. And then it's just about their ability to play the game, which you see over time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually, privately in the company I work at now, we've begun instigating hiring processes where we try to get people to like work for an hour or half a day if they want to, just swing by for that exact reason.
Yeah,
I think that's interesting. I had one more question actually, so maybe just circle back a bit to that culture if you don't mind, and also feel free to kick me off at any point.
No,
right?
you're good. Yeah.
Awesome. One thing you mentioned originally in this video clip that I'm talking about is like you talked about how this was quite different with you guys compared to I can't remember which EU guild it was at the time. Maybe it was Echo. Um, where you said like they're all serious and you have this very jovial tone. You
Yeah,
also talk
definitely
about
Echo,
these
yeah.
mistakes and stuff. Yeah, yeah. And I wonder like is that difference like intentional or organic? And B, do you think it affects performance? Like, is that why you've been able to beat them sometimes? Maybe. I mean, that's maybe a bit of a stretch, but.
Well, yeah, as far as like winning or losing, I also can't fully speak to how Echo runs. Like they mute their comms a lot of the times, so I can't fully speak to their atmosphere. Like I know people who have rated there. I have multiple friends that have rated here and there, and you hear things. But I think it's pretty clear from a viewer that there's like a difference in like the level of levity. I think in the raid. As far as that being good or bad, I don't know if that's something that we force. I think that's more just us being ourselves. I've also noticed this in a lot of English-speaking European guilds that, and maybe this is kind of me guessing here, but I know in America when you're raiding with mostly people, we do have some European players who play here, but like our initial guild culture was established before that. When you listen, the average English-speaking EU guild, they're much more direct, and it's because English isn't a lot of their first languages. So in a way, like when you're bringing things up, it's just kind of straight to the point and there's less like beating around the bush. That could be a cultural difference. It could be a second language thing. But I've noticed that EU guilds in general are just more direct. And a lot of times that can be perceived by people who are not used to that culture as being toxic. But that's just because I think in a lot of ways, American guilds, NA guilds are actually kind of the opposite of that. It's like, you're not going to address something. I actually kind of prefer the EU way, to be honest with you. We do that. We do the EU way of like, you address things instantly. You can't, like, if you're just the person that's never going to talk about something, people are going to talk about it after raid. If it's not addressed in public, people are going to address it themselves. That's how that works. So you kind of need to do it right away, but there's a way to do that with respect. I'm sure Echo probably does that. I actually can't speak too much to them. I actually think both of our guilds have had really good success, and I think it's fascinating that we operate clearly totally differently, but I don't think that's too unlike most major sports. I'm aware of some guilds that or not guilds, but like some teams that are like, the guys don't really like each other, but they're really good and they make it work. And there are some teams that are like super tight, and you could see people make the argument that like us being so tight knit as a group makes us better, and then others that are like kind of at odds, there's multiple cliques that are kind of going against each other, whatever, like, but they can still succeed. So I would say this would be an excellent question, I think, to bounce off. Maybe there's a few people. So Tobo, Wolf Disco, now I'm trying to think of people who have raided in both guilds would probably be a really good person to ask about this, like as a one-off, because I'm sure they'd be able to tell you like the differences and maybe how that benefits or doesn't benefit. Because most of it for me is not easy because I'm kind of guessing as to the effects that has on them, or even what their atmosphere is truly like. I don't like we are much more open. Like if you watch us in progression, when we are streaming Mythic Progression, we have our comms unmuted 100% of the time. Their comms are muted almost all the time, so you are able to hear how we interact. You don't really get to see how they interact in like a high pressure situation most of the time, so it's really hard for me to answer that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and thank you for those ideas. I think that's an interesting approach, and I think I wonder. So on your side of things, you talk about like this culture enables you to have the hard talks essentially, right? And I think that's one of the key reasons why it might help you. It's not about being PC or cozy or nice. It's that you can actually talk about the more difficult things. And I just wonder, like, is that something you train between races? Like, is there something where do you have conversations with the players about this? Is it mostly like a leadership kind of thing, or do people just live with it, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, you have to have those hard conversations to succeed at this level. Like, if after a pull is over and I know I need to address something with a player and it has to do with something they're doing and I want to change it, either they were doing something intentionally wrong, bad, or whatever, I have to have the conversation with them of trying to change it. That can be done adversarially or it can be done with respect, and both kind of accomplish the same thing. Again, as far as like group morale and atmosphere, like that can have some effects on that. But like, I think what you just do is you just have a long-standing rapport with people. They know that like if I make a mistake or if one of our officers makes a mistake, they're never going to hide from it, right? Or if we need to change something we're doing, we're going to be open with that. So hopefully our players see that, and then when we have to tell them something that, it could be hard. You could be on your 5th 16-hour raid day in a row you're having a bad day. That can happen. You didn't eat a lot. You didn't get a lot of sleep. And you're just in a bad mood, and then you messed up. And you know what you really don't want to hear when you already know you messed up is like someone bringing it up in front of 100,000 people, right? Live on stream. That can just do shit to your brain, right? Like, it's not easy to do that. I think the only way you can really condition yourself for that is to just have respect for people, know they're not going to bring it up. Like, I would hope that none of my raiders, if I bring up something to them, if Zisevi, if Scott brings something up to them, that they're not going to respond. They know that we're not bringing it up on a personal level. It is only to succeed as a group. And I think that just can only really come from a long time of playing with these people and a level of respect. Because you can tell someone, you know, basically you fucked up and need to change it, but obviously give them something to change. Pointing that out and without any like solution doesn't really do anything. But like, you can do that with respect and then just immediately move on. It's probably a lot harder to do that if you like are aggressive, I guess. So it's not really about how you say it either. It can be really direct. There has to be a level, you have to respect them and they have to know that you respect them. And if that is true, I think you can kind of say whatever you want to anyone as long as it's being productive. Yeah.
I think that makes a ton of sense. And I think it sounds like to me that this baseline cultural agreement or whatever you want to call it kind of allows you to do a lot of things that would be challenging without it. And more than actively engaging with it is like the enabler and the catalyst for all of the other things that you just kind of do.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, let's just throw it the other way. Again, I can't really speak to Echo's culture, but let's just say it's a lot less like respectful, I guess, when you're saying it to people. It might be more like, you know, I'm sure there's a level of respect. Like, I really am just kind of guessing here to answer part of your question. Where it's like, sometimes you can do the same thing. Saying something to someone to fix something with respect, and then also saying it when you're clearly really mad and people are like sighing and really mad about it. That's the same thing. Like, you're kind of accomplishing the same thing. Maybe that person's morale is a little higher or lower for the 20 minutes after that. Or maybe you're so used to that atmosphere that it just doesn't phase you. Like, you're just built like a brick, you know? You're just like, you have a crazy mental. I don't really know the benefits. Psychologically, it's really interesting, I think, how that happens to people. I just know for us, it's not really a forced, I would say it's much less about a forced way to do things. We don't intentionally do that with respect or be nice or whatever. It's just kind of who we are, who I am, who groups of people are in the guild that naturally just work with each other. But if I think if like, it's possible that if you listen to a lot of other teams from different cultures, that could sound different, but you could still solve the same problem with the same efficiency. And as long as people are used to that and know what to expect, like here's an example. If you were to put one of our players who've raided here for a long time and put them into Echo's environment, they might fucking hate it. It might be the exact same thing, but they just don't like it. You could do the exact same thing the other way. You could throw like Gingy in our guild and like we're joking around during a poll and he'll want to fucking die. Like, he would want nothing to do with that. Like, he would think that we're like fucking throwing or like we're like, it's just like you get used to a certain atmosphere and that atmosphere works for you and for your team, and that's just how it works. But it's possible that it wouldn't work. Maybe someone would prefer one rather than the other, right? I definitely think that's true.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think from my own raid experiences, I've definitely been on both sides of that spectrum. So of course, on a much less intense level.
Yeah.
But I think I also wonder, like, how do you know that works for your players, right? Because to give you an example of what you spoke about before, like, we know that fear is a pretty good motivator, or, you know, shame or being called out in the short term, right? Like, if someone makes you feel really shit, like let's say on a live stream in front of 100,000 people, your most pressing motivation is going to be to not do that. But often it means you're optimizing for the wrong thing, right? You're trying to not make mistakes rather than to win, let's say. And I wonder, like, do you any comments? Yeah?
Well, I mean, fear can be a big motivator. I would say that's something we never do. I actually like completely disagree with that. I think if you're playing, whether it's in front of the 20 people in your raid or 100,000 people, solving a problem and having the person understand it and treating them with respect is just, in my opinion, personally, always going to get a better response than someone who you give the exact same information to. You're solving the same problem, but instead you ridiculed them and made them feel embarrassed in front of 100,000 people. The whole like performing out of fear, I am of the opinion that absolutely no one plays better in WoW in a bad mood ever.
Oh, for
Right.
sure. I
So
agree, and I think what I meant to say is that like that might work for some people in the short term, in that they won't make that mistake, but usually it has lasting damages, and it's not a good way to go
yeah,
about
exactly.
that for sure.
That's how I feel. But if someone disagreed with that and they were like, no, actually, like, because like there's like the military, for example, is very direct, very aggressive leadership, and that works for them. Like maybe it works for different people in different scenarios, and maybe different people need different levels of leadership. They need that really hard cut stuff. Uh, I just don't think that would really work for us at all. And I've seen it before. I've seen players like make a mistake, be down on themselves, and then get that extra motivation of like, hey man, just letting you know you fucked up. And then when you add the like, you never know how people will react. And then if you add the whole like 40,000 people are now typing in chat that you fucking suck or whatever, all these random people that don't even play this game are telling this insane player that they're bad, right? That can affect anyone, man. And I just cannot possibly believe that that person would play better in the next 15 minutes than if they still solved the same problem but felt respected and weren't getting shit on by tens of thousands of people, right? That's how I feel.
Oh, for sure. I think that makes a ton of sense. Is this like so this whole cultural sort of thing you've got going? It sounds like you have a pretty crystallized idea of what it is. Is that something you talk to the players about frequently as well?
No. I mean, I
No?
think maybe every now and then before a race, it can be important to emphasize, like, hey guys, you know, I might have to come at you guys later this week, and you may not be in the best of moods, but just know that it is never personal or whatever. Like maybe you'll say something like that, but a lot of that is obvious. They've been here. We have a lot of the same players. I would definitely, if we had a bunch of new players, it would be very important to let them know about that. It's also one of the things that why Race World First is experience is so important, because like you need to kind of know what it's like to be in that atmosphere. Like any human being would play so much better in their second or third race than their first, no matter how good you are, because it's just so unique and there's no way to prepare for this. And part of that is definitely the mental required, as well as getting enough sleep and eating and making sure that you're like somehow healthy after that amount of time. Yeah.
Not living off of candy if they don't serve pizza.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Shout out THD. Yeah, but he's weird. Like he's never like played bad ever, and he eats candy for meals. So who knows?
I also wasn't intentionally to randomly flame him. I just remember that story.
Oh no,
from
you can
recently.
flame him.
That was-
Flaming him is warranted. Yeah.
Oh man. So maybe if I can ask one more question, and then I'll let you go as well, because I don't want to waste your time.
No, you're good.
When you sort of so you talk about like this works really well for everyone who's played together for a long ass time. Do you I suppose like how big is your drop off actually between races in terms of new players?
In between raids, the amount of people that quit is almost no one. In between every raid, however, we do usually demote like 3 or 4 players. It depends. I think this tier was less than that. I think it was maybe 2 or 1. And you bring on new people. This is done for a few reasons. People can obviously lose their passion over time. People can get passed up skill-wise. And sometimes people are fine, but they don't serve a certain purpose on your roster because of like the way class balance is in a certain game. You don't need 8. You might need 3 mages, but you don't need 3 hunters or something. You know, like you could have a lot of people alt a hunter, and mage is like more specialized. So it kind of depends on the person. But every now and then someone will quit because they're just kind of burnt out. That actually happened this time. We had one person do that. It's very rare. I would say more often it's demoting people, and it's to bring in new people that either serve a purpose for a specific class you need, or you're just trying to, you know, if you keep the same people for 6 years, you're lacking growth, right? You need to kind of not even trim the fat. Like, honestly, it sucks. Like, I've had to demote people from this guild that are fucking incredible players. They're really good, but like they were sitting for multiple tiers. They weren't really getting any raid time, and there's like this new up and coming player. Like, we recruited a player this tier. He was a tank for vodka last year, and the way we recruited him, going back to how you asked how we recruited earlier, is we actually had multiple people from this guild, including officers, unprompted reach out to us and be like, you got to recruit this guy. Like, this guy's fucking nuts. He was like a 5-time Brawlhalla world champion, randomly started playing WoW. He's just like a super zoomer. He's like 19 or something. And he's just like fucking cracked at the game, right? So like we didn't even need a tank, but we just recruited this guy. And you just find a way to make it work because you need that to happen. Like those are the players that like can, you know, I don't know how many players we currently have in the guild, but you can only bring 20 at a time. And the number closer to 20 or above 20 that you can get that are like truly unbelievable players, the better you're going to be, right? Player skill really matters. It's really hard to find people who are like that guy. So by removing a few players that you've seen for a while, you know what they are, they're reliable, but you need to kind of continue improving your roster. One way to do that is to keep trying the field out and seeing the new up-and-coming players and seeing where they stack up. And I think that's a way to improve over time. Every guild basically does this. You kind of have to do this. Sometimes it happens naturally, but sometimes you have to force it as well.
So on the note, actually, like in the software industry, like a lot of growth happens because of scaling, right? Like you don't have to cap at 20. You can keep hiring, and a lot of people also grow from switching different companies. And so I wonder a bit, like if we view the sort of the career path of a professional WoW player, and you're the end game, right? Like there's not really anywhere to move on past you, and there's only 20. Like is that, so when you talk about demotion between seasons and stuff, like is that something that sort of hangs over the head of people, or is it just part of the job, or how does that sort of make people feel?
I mean, it's got to make them feel bad. Like, I mean, like it's been some of the worst, and I don't mean to imply that what I'm going through is worse than what they're going through, but demoting people from this guild is like some of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life, and I know it's worse for them. But like you're basically kicking someone that sometimes didn't even really do anything wrong, just someone else was better, or one of those reasons, and you basically have to fire someone from their job and their like main hobby and passion. They may not want to raid anywhere else that isn't here. It's hard to raid. Generally, people who leave here and raid in other guilds just hate it and quit, right? So like I know I'm basically kicking them from their hobby and their job at the same time, which is like fucking brutal, and I hate that. But yeah, there is only 20 spots. How people usually deal with that is there's other guilds you can raid in. There's like typically who we're recruiting, who Echo has been recruiting for the last 2 or 3 years, is we're recruiting the best player in one of the guilds closely behind us, right? So if you want the Race to World first career path is usually just being the best player in your guild, moving up guilds, and eventually we'll find that person. So I think that's generally how that goes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Just out of curiosity, so you talk about this demotion processes and all this. You talked about like how it feels and the thoughts going around, and I was wondering like what sort of background do you draw upon in that situation? I know you also did something in the software industry. I know you were just saying an acquirer.
Oh, yeah, no. I did. I basically, like, right before I started doing the Race World first, or right before I started streaming, I was playing WoW the whole time, but I went to, like, tech school. I didn't do any software engineering. I was, like, a networking guy, so I set up networking for small and mid-sized businesses. I wasn't very good at my job. I got hired out of my first semester in school and didn't even finish it, and I was, like, super trash, and that was like just the last thing I did before this. I would definitely not call myself a super tech person. The most intricate thing I did was with one other person. I set up like a network environment with a server for like a business of like 30 people in their office. Like that was it.
Right.
Some baby.
So do you mean you just learned this on the job, or like where does that come from?
Learn what on the job? Learn all of the leadership stuff?
How to manage your organization?
Great question,
many people and go through these things.
So I think what gave me most of my managerial experience was like right out of college, my brother was running a restaurant. And he just needed a supervisor. He didn't have a lot of people he could trust, so I just moved up, started working there, got promoted to supervisor after a while, and then I ended up like running the restaurant mostly. And I like had to make a lot of those decisions and like how to treat people differently based, or like how to work with everyone in that scenario was hard. You had some people that were college students, you had high school students, you had people who were in their 40s living paycheck to paycheck, like very different personalities of people. And I think I learned how to like respect people for who they were and deal with that there. That's what gave me some of that, but most of it was just learning on the job. I think running a WoW guild is very similar to like running your own business, actually, like a lot of the same principles. If I were to ever stop doing this and try to get hired somewhere, probably the most impressive thing I could put is what I've done with the guild, but I doubt anyone would look at that and not laugh at it. But I do think that I learned almost all of it on the job. You do reading and watch videos on leadership, but a lot of it is just you just have to figure it out. I wasn't very good at it when I started, and I got better at it over time because I had to.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I think there's a lot of value in that, and I mean, I'm here for that reason, right? I think I attend a lot of conferences where people talk about these experience journeys of how they sort of came to a lot of those conclusions about how leadership works that you can't really read in a book. And I think I've seen some of that in the way you talk about the guild and the culture. So at least in my estimation, there's definitely something there. I think you mentioned sort of the point of not directly, but like the diversity of the people that you've been working with in your past experience. And I imagine that in the guild, people coming from, I mean, I guess it's mostly America, but still, that's a big country in its own right. And I guess a lot of different walks of life and stuff.
Yeah.
Has that been challenging? Is it part of your success, or what do you think how that affects the guild and the culture?
No, I mean, we worked from we have, I think we have like a few, we had Finnish players, we've had Swedish players, we've had Danish players, we have people from the UK, we've never had any French, few Germans, but yeah, we've had to mix in a lot of different cultures. I will tell you that isn't something I've ever really had to think about, you know? I think if you were to like throw yourself in a Finnish guild, throw yourself in a multicultural English-speaking EU guild, it may be a big acclimation or a big thing to acclimate to, but like this has always, people from other cultures have always fit right in, and I think a lot of and it's not me. A lot of the time it isn't me. Like I think our guild's culture is really built up by the average atmosphere of a lot of our players that have been here for a long time, you know. And as soon as someone new joins the guild, no matter where they're from or where they came before this, you're gonna see Shaq and Fired Up and Atlas or whoever invite them to Monday Night Squad, which I believe will be happening tomorrow, and they're just gonna talk to them for like, they're gonna ask them questions every 2 minutes. Sometimes people will you know, react to that differently, but you know, they make them feel involved right away, and I think people usually end up just fitting in here. I've never had a situation ever where someone has come in and just like been a good player and hasn't fit in, you know, like they kind of like everybody. So I wouldn't even say a lot of that is me. A lot of that is because in farm, a lot of the times people aren't doing the same thing. We play the game really hardcore for a couple weeks, and then we kind of just do whatever. So like it's about playing other games with them and like playing beta and getting to know them. But we haven't had too much of an issue with that, and I think it's because we are our own culture, and I would like to think that it's easy for people to acclimate to it. I guess I don't know. It seems pretty accepting of whoever you are. So we've never had any issues with that, I guess, in short, where people have come in and yeah.
Do you tend to build a lot of that culture outside of the Race to World First in that case? Do people join you up before the race, and then this mostly happens before that, or?
I think someone probably won't fully get this until they do their first race in the guild, because it is just really this thing that kind of binds us all together. But I don't think it happens it all happens organically. It doesn't happen by, it's like this new person doesn't join, hey, let's set up this thing where they all do it. It's just like, we're all gamers. We all play games all the time. Everyone who games at this level plays a bunch of other different games. You find someone else to queue in, like playing in-house with, queue some battle royale games with, play whatever. Our Discord is usually popping with people that are playing stuff all the time. So it's like, if you want to be a part of that, you can. But if not, then you know, usually it's just around the race.
Yeah, interesting. Like learning on the job. You said like you got to sit down in the real deal to really feel it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. I think I got around a lot of the topics, and I don't want to take more of your time. I can also see some people in chat are calling me out for taking your time. So sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, if people came into if people came into the chat late, yeah, this he just wanted to ask me some questions. He had actually asked me, I think in April of this year, like literally months ago, and then I'm really bad at Discord and all forms of communication. So he came into my Twitch channel today and was like, "Hey, just reaching out." And then I was like, "All right, let's just do it live." So, yeah, this was really fun. I don't mind doing stuff like this whenever I have time. So, no problem.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Like I'm hoping to draw up some comments from you and different people from different industries and try and bring it to a conference at some point. And I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff to learn from these, I guess, less traditional fields of work from all of us nerds who think we've got it figured out. So
oh, absolutely. I mean, this is something
that.
I'm fascinated in. If you are fascinated in, if you ever actually bring this to a conference and you get perspective from leadership positions in different areas and how to, you know, just anything like that. If you had some kind of greater insight on leadership or how things, I mean, that would be one of the first things I'd be interested in reading. So make sure to let me know if you end up doing that.
Awesome. I definitely will. Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
you, man. And good luck with the stream, and see you around, chat.
Yep. See you, Mikkel. Yep. Bye.
Yes. See you, Max. Bye.
All right. Cool. All right. You never know what to expect on my stream, huh? Just random shit happens. That guy was also super attractive too. That's fucking annoying. Don't you guys just hate talking to people that are just like that? Goddamn man, fuck. Like Venruki. Frank says, "Do you have that guy's Discord at?" Yeah, it's right here. I don't know how to link it. Here, I'll send him a friend request and I'll put him in a group with Frank. You want to ask him some stuff for context for a video. Oh, you want to make that into a video? Oh, I guess I didn't think of that. Makes sense. Here you go. Ven is your go-to example? Yeah, Venruki pisses me off. Dude's like, oh, guys, I'm back. Took a break from streaming. Was hiking in the Swiss Alps with no social media or internet or anything. Just enjoying nature. Just gonna come back. I'm also like super fucking jacked and handsome. What's up, guys? Just streaming. Oh, what? I must have forgotten my shirt today, chat. Oh, fuck. Out of here. Fuck out of here. Pissing me off. So are you not jealous? Of course I'm jealous. That's why I'm fucking mad. That's the only way I can deal with it. When's the follow-up on the Venruki potty? We told Venruki if we were ever gonna do like a WeakOr episode, we would bring him on. You know what's so sad though? The Venruki podcast, I'm pretty sure, was our lowest viewed podcast ever. Which is really, maybe it was like bad timing. Maybe it's because Venruki is assumed to be like a PvP guy. But like Venruki is fucking fascinating. Like, he was like probably the best guest we've ever had on the Potty C, honestly. No flame to anyone else. Like, he was amazing. I love talking to that guy. Such a good episode too. Ian on the Potty C, let's go. We did actually get approval to get a developer on the Potty C. It'll be after the Race to World first, I believe. Which would be fun. It got 48K, so not too bad when looking at all of them. Oh, really? That actually isn't that bad. Dude, Ella's such a good dog. Do you guys have good dogs at home? Look at this fucking dog. Come here, baby girl. Come on. Come say hi to the people. Dude, she went to the dog park a couple days ago, and people were so Ella-pilled. They were like, your dog is so pretty. She's got silk-like fur. Ella, do you have silk-like fur? Are you a dog? Do you have something to say? Hmm? There you go. Max, would you ever consider adopting what F1 Red Bull did for the race? You think we need a drive to survive for the Race to World first? I mean, isn't that what every industry, like Drive to Survive came out and then every single sport and industry tried to do they wanted their own Drive to Survive because they just wanted all of the publicity that came along with it. It like super popularized their sport in this country. I just don't think people care enough, man. Hi, Ella. You're such a dog. Do you know that? Do you know that you're a dog? Hmm. You're a little doggy. Not creating a Netflix series, but having a B team. That doesn't really work in WoW. Our B team is all these other guilds. Hi. The Robin yearns for the throbbin. No, no, no. Max, if you were a wagey, what job would you be doing right now? That's a good question, actually. So I think what I would be best at is some kind of management. Whatever I cared about, whatever company, I think I would be a kick-ass executive slash manager of something. But what I would really want to do is I would really want to be a teacher. I would be happy for the rest of my life being a teacher if money wasn't a problem. I mean, if I started doing it now, money wouldn't be a problem. I'd be chilling. What would you teach? Music. I would teach music for sure. Why working with little brats? Actually, that's interesting. I do have a couple friends who are teachers, but one of which I reached out to within the last year to ask them how different teaching is now with like TikTok and their attention span and their use of phones. And he gave me you guys want to hear the answer? I gave it before. I could read it verbatim again. Here. All right, here we go. Here's what I texted him. Oh, I meant to ask you something, and if it's super long answer, I can wait until the next time we play. I was talking on my stream earlier about what social media appears to be doing to our youth, because it seems like they're just used to infinite dopamine and would probably find it hard to concentrate. Then I had someone point out that that's exactly what old people used to tell us when we were kids about the television. It will turn your brain into mush, etc. What do you think about it being up close to them? Am I just an old person complaining about technology I don't understand, or is it actually bad? And here's what he said. Normally I say the old people saying those things are just old and crotchety, but on this subject, the social media feedback loop is so strong that it is akin to drugs. The addiction to look at your phone and disappear for minutes to hours is insane. I worked at a private school for 10 years and they were very anti-technology. The kids' attention span, quality of schoolwork, and happiness, which is somewhat subjective, were much stronger. My public school is a fight where 30% of the students are content to fail my class as long as I don't deny them access to their phones, and the level of toxic behavior is insane. A huge portion of my students have their primary account and then a troll account too. They try to entice their partners or others to see if they will flirt and cheat. Video games are addicting, but you actively engage the material. Social media is passive, and the material is often harmful. That was his response. And then I kind of asked a few other questions. And he said, it is hard. I try not to fight them on it because it's a lose-lose situation. You hurt the personal relationship with the student or have to split attention. If the phones were gone, 20% more would pass and half would have a letter grade higher. So, yeah, sad. Max, what age group would you like to teach? Great question. I wouldn't mind elementary school, but I think I would get bored of that after a certain amount of time. But I think I would be great with elementary school kids. I just, in general, if I'm at like a family gathering, I'm the uncle that's like all the kids are like, let's play with him. Like he's gonna play football, he's gonna throw us around in the water. He's the like for whatever reason, I'm just on the same. I can like get down to their wavelength and they're cool with me. But I think I would get bored of elementary school because of the level of stuff you'd be teaching isn't interesting to me. I think where I do really well is a professor in college or a high school, like higher level high school, like really good high school like choir music teacher. Middle school, absolutely not. I did some uh, student teaching when I was in college, and part of that was working in middle schools, elementary schools, high schools. Middle schoolers are fucking evil. Like they're like getting into their hormones for the first time. They're so fucking mean to each other. Like, dude, if you guys know a middle school teacher, they are God's gift to this earth, and they are not paid nearly enough money. Oh, you would teach choir? Yeah, that's my main passion. I sang chamber music professionally a bit in my 20s. I went to music school for music education and vocal performance. Uh, I conducted, I composed, I did all of that. I would love doing that. Um, it was also my favorite part of high school. Isn't well a derogatory word now from TikTok? I don't know what you're talking about. When I hope you read my title today, you read it like this. When I came in, I said, well, look who it is. But I was referring to you, every single one of you, and you came in. Well. Hmm. What is it? I worked at a school for kids with disabilities, autism, Down, etc., age 6 to 15, and I love it. Yeah, my mom worked as a special ed teacher for she was a choir director as well for a while, but then she did some special education stuff, and I got to meet and hang out with them. I went to school with her sometimes, and uh, they were really cool. I don't know if I could do that though. I think that's a little too hard for me. Like I think people who teach special ed are truly built different. Like they have, it's hard to see, man. You know, like they're really cool, but like actually sticking with it and teaching them is so challenging. I don't know if I'm good enough to do it. Those are also people who don't make nearly enough money. Max, completely unrelated to teaching being good at pressing nowadays, but holy fuck, this D4 season is an absolute banger and a half. Swapped a lightning spear after playing tons of chain lightning, and I could play this forever. Yeah, the Diablo. I don't think a lot of people are gonna give Diablo its credit for season 4 and season 5, both of which were like really fucking good and made the game a lot better. I think what's gonna happen is it's gonna be like Shadowlands. Do you guys remember when Shadowlands was like really bad in season 2, but then they made all of these really good like foundational changes in 9.1.5, but no one came back to the game yet? And back then I was like, dude, everyone's gonna start playing in 9.2 again, and they're gonna be like, wow, the game is so much better than it was, and it that was true. But like they assumed it was a 9.2 thing, but all the things they liked about the game were changes they made in the previous patch. I think it's gonna be the same thing in Diablo. Like no one has a reason to come back right now. There's a reason they're not marketing season 4 or season 5. There's a reason it's not very big, because they're saving all of their marketing dollars for the expansion. Why? Because the expansion's going to have all of these 2 seasons were Dragonflight for Diablo. They were rebuilding the base game, and it's a fucking incredible change. And you're going to have the expansion come out with all of those changes, and a lot of people are just going to assume it's all the expansion because that's realistically when they're going to try the game again, and it'll be a lot fucking better. So What is it? D4 went through the wildest redemption arc since No Man's Sky. The game's actually really fucking good right now. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I think people will realize it in the expansion because the new class also looks fucking sick. Max, did you write all the questions you wanted for Morgan? I think I did. I'm just gonna send them this and just see what happens. I might come up with a few extra ones and it'll just be on the fly, but I'm just gonna send them. I didn't really spell check this. It'll be fine. They know what I mean. Are you interviewing today? No. Randomly, I got interviewed today. I wasn't really expecting that, but that happened. But, woo! All right, cool. Let's see. Have you ever tried PoE? A few times, yeah. I'm too dumb. Max, how do you prepare for World First yourself? You know. What about PoE 2? I was able to play PoE 2 at a press event in LA. And it was pretty fun. It was really hard. Like, Souls difficulty bosses right at the beginning of the game. It was farming people in there that were almost all ARPG main streamers for hours. I think they said they were going to decrease the difficulty a bit. I found it to be really fun, though. PoE veteran said PoE 2 beta was ultra brutal. Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah. Did you meet Lord Eris there? Who's that? Okay, that sound that you keep hearing is people logging on Battle.net. How do I make this sound go away forever? I mean, it's pretty easy, right? Go to volume mixer and just set battle.net to 0. All right, problem solved. Does being a world first raider for Liquid make any income outside of streaming? Yeah, our players make anywhere from like 1 to 2K a month, and then for every race they make Twitch split lump sums of 3 to 4K usually, on top of whatever they would make from streaming or whatever else. But that's like almost 40 people on salary, so it's a lot. Are flights paid for? Yeah, all that stuff's paid for. All their flights, their stay during the race, all that stuff. The races, each one of our individual races costs like $200,000 or $300,000 to produce. Max, on a race, you alone probably make like 1 mil plus. That is not... I wish that was true. That is not true. Easily 1 mil plus. Are you just making shit up? Bro, do you know how much $1 million is? I make a lot of money during the race. But I do not make $1 million. So that's crazy. That would be fucking hype, though. That should happen. Like, if we're being honest, if we want to keep it a buck for a second, it's pretty clear that that should be what's happening. Let's do that. But... that is not currently what's happening, unfortunately. Will you ever share race revenue with subs? What? Like subs to my Twitch channel? Okay. Okay, tell me why. Tell me why that should happen. Like, you guys are investing in me. It's like dividends. Like, you're investing in my stock, and I'm giving you a return. I mean, that does kind of make sense. You all brought me up from the mud. Dude, maybe I should be doing this. How would we work that out, though? Death roll it? Have all the subs do it like a sub dividend, and instead of giving everyone like $10, we'll just roll, and one of you will get a lot of money, get a couple 100K. That'd be fucking hype. Max, hear me out. Franck gets no money because he's taking all the YouTube money. Bro, so true. Nah, I feel bad. I'm robbing Franck of some money right now because I could have been doing so much easy beta content. Like, I could just sit through a painstaking 2-hour Warlock talk about something I don't care about at all. That video would get 75K views. It would be like 2 hours long. But guys, I just can't fucking do it, man. Have you guys ever tried to do something you don't want to do before? It fucking sucks. Really. Like, it sucks. I go to work every day. Dude, that's actually such a blessing that anyone who has a job that they genuinely enjoy going to. What do you guys think are the chances of that? Like, what percentage of people do you think have a job that they like look forward to going to? Sub 1? No way. It's like I'd say it's like 10, maybe 15. Like 20 at the highest. Cuz like, I mean, a lot of people go into work that they like, if you graduate college, there's an okay chance that you are going into an industry that you care about. But I know there's a lot of people in their 20s and 30s now that like can't get a job in the field that they graduated with. So there's that problem. And those people probably they need to make a living, right? So like, that sucks. Like, how many people truly like wanted to be a archaeologist, got a degree in archaeology, and now are working as an archaeologist, and every single day they're like, fuck yeah, I love this shit? It's probably, I would bet it's less than like, I mean, it's way less than 50%. It's probably way less than 30%. I mean, there's a difference between liking your job and like tolerating it. I guess like you'd have to, because I think a lot of people would feel empty if they had actually nothing to do. You notice this a lot with retired people. Like people who get to the age where have you guys ever had a parent that retired, but they just couldn't do it? Like they had to have a job of some kind. They have to have purpose, right? Like my mom and my dad are actually good examples of this. My dad retired and actually just was fully consumed by his hobbies, and he just fucking loves his life. And my mom retired, and she like had to have a job. She could not possibly just not have a job. It's just how she is, right? She was raised on a farm. She just has to be fucking doing something, right? So different people are like that, but there's probably a difference between like unironically, like if you were to ask yourself, what do I want to do today? Like if I could do anything in the world, travel, fucking do whatever, anything. If I could do anything, and that thing happens to be the job you're driving to right now, that's probably like really low, like fucking insanely low. But like what I'm referring to is more like you're constantly part of a passion. Like you're involved in your company, and like you believe in what your company believes in, and you genuinely want to go in and enjoy the building of it. I think there's a lot of people like that, where it's like maybe they'd rather stay home and play video games, but like they wouldn't want to do that every day, you know? Or maybe they would. Shut out video games. What is it? Max, I studied medieval history with no intention of ever working in the field, and I'm absolutely loving my job. Not each and every day. Some Mondays are meh, but I love it nonetheless. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people like that. That's kind of like the second person I was talking about. What is it? Being in the industry doesn't mean you love the work in the industry. Yeah. Like you could get a job as a, I I don't know, let's say like business management, and you really love running businesses, but instead of running your own business, you're working to help supply someone else's, and that specific part of it you don't like. Or you get a degree in sales, if that's even a degree, and you end up working as a salesman and you fucking love that, but then you get promoted and now you don't do any sales. You actually just manage people, and you just hate managing people, but you love selling things, right? You're in the industry, you're selling the right product, you just no longer sell it anymore. I started a Discord server for a YouTube channel I liked on a whim, and now I've been editing their videos for 7 years. That's like Frank's story. Frank was working as an editor, and he just came to me and was like, bro, let me edit your video. I love your content so much. Let me edit it for free. And he's been editing all my videos for free for like 3 or 4 years now. He fucking loves it. I just made all that up, though. All good, though. What is it? You know, I almost considered doing that when you were doing the N'Zoth raid lead helping. Why? Just for exposure? Dude, I should be paying you an exposure. That's so... Guys, can you imagine how sick it is that instead of paying people, you can just say, like, I'm paying you for the exposure you're getting? God damn. You were Mr. Too Good for YouTube for a while there, and you were going to do it to show there was a market. That would have been smart, because there obviously was a market. God, yeah, I was so dumb to not make a YouTube channel before I did. And when I first started, I was making actual dog shit content too, but it still worked because there was such a need for it. Maximum, just redraft the contract and give him the exposure now. Bro, that would be fucking hype. Frank doesn't pay tax, so I'm calling the IRS. Okay, first of all, his name is not Frank. There is someone who works for me whose name is Frank, and someone whose name is Frank. It can get confusing. Frank kind of owns too. Max, is the percent of money from stream, YouTube, and podcast? I don't know what you're asking me right now. Frank makes a percentage of my YouTube, and he also gets paid from our podcast. I don't really know how it all works, honestly. I didn't set it up. I think Frank is doing okay. He would be doing better if I made more content. He is kind of at the mercy of me making content because he makes a percentage of my channel. But guys, if I force myself to do content, will it be good? Yes or no? On the count of 3. 3, 2, 1, no. Won't be good. No. Okay, you guys are typing yes. You're not supposed to type yes. It already isn't. What the fuck? Come on, man. I love Max's content. Max is my best friend. Smile. That's the fucking energy I'm looking for. Well, not the parasocial part, but the liking my content part. Actually, I wish you all were more parasocial with me. That'd be fucking hype. Dude, I feel like having a super parasocial fan base would go super hard until it wouldn't. Like, my fan base is not very parasocial at all. Like, you can tell it's because, like, anytime someone does something bad or does something where, like, people are shitting on them on Twitter, the dudes with parasocial followings, they'll, like, be there fighting for them for the death on Twitter. That's what I need. I need you all to do that, and I want you to just do that until it's annoying and then stop. But I know that's not how it works. You got to either have a parasocial fan base or... yeah, like, I would win all the drafts. Like, that's it. I want to have a parasocial fan base to where, like, I win all of the drafts on my channel instead of lose them. But then I don't want you to be weird outside of that, if that makes sense. Which is usually true of parasocial viewers. I basically want all of the good parts of parasocial following with none of the bad parts, if that's okay. Whatever, comma, slut. When did the calling me a slut thing start? Is it because sometimes I sit up like this? Wait, how do I do this? I fucking put one leg up and then I do the other Wait, no, that wasn't. I was doing this, I think. Oh, yeah. Get the fucking knee. Get the knee in the pick, baby. All right. I want all of the good parts of a stream and none of the bad, yet here we are. What the fuck? Guys, you get what you get, okay? Dude, what the why'd you say that? Why'd you type that? And now I'm sad. Look at that. That deserves mod? No, it fucking doesn't. That was mean as hell. How does that deserve mod? Max, does doing good DPS on an easy spec take away from those people who play them and are looked down upon instead of those who do good DPS? What the fuck are you talking about, Rye Cinnamon? What are you saying? What does that mean? Oh my god, man. This is my first Max stream I've watched. Does the chat always flame him? Is this the stream? This is not... No, that's not what normally happens. Also, you just made that the fuck up. You have chat history from December 3rd, 2020 and February 5th, 2020. So fucking... You are actually a fucking liar. Get lied on. Caught. Caught. Have you seen a therapist for your anger? I don't have anger issues, man. I'm feeling fucking great right now. I'm feeling amazing. Feeling so good. I'm not even mad. Come on. So there's no more content for the day? Yeah, no. Was there ever any content? Guys, we are going to be playing The War Within Early Access in fucking 11 days. Holy fuck. That is a crazy short amount of time. Then waiting 3 weeks to play the game. Yeah, hopefully the beginning of the expansion has really sick, meaningless content like the other expansions have, or like Dragonflight has. I hope there's like some rare farming, some dirt farming in the first 2 weeks to get us going. Dude, you guys are saying like boring, bro. People were going so crazy for that shit at the beginning of Dragonflight. They were so happy for nothing. Love that. So you hope we're all just mole people for 2 weeks. Yeah, we're all gonna... Dude, that's when we can actually commune with their tribe. Like, you think there's no way into the mole tribe? We're all moles for those 2 weeks. We have no choice. We can infiltrate. Did Blizzard tell you when the balance will be done? What? Balance is never, like, really done. I mean, what are they going to say? Like, before the raid? Like, I don't know. Balance, like, kind of doesn't matter until, like, almost, like, 4 or 5 weeks from now, so. Everyone was having fun when we were all mole people, just saying. Oh, absolutely, dude. Is there any more fun you've had in WoW than when you first played it and everything was new? And I feel like that's just the GOAT WoW time. It's always the best. Everything, there's just so much wonder. Max, I know that being called a slut may seem like a bad thing, but you should embrace it. Guys, all I'm saying is if I was a girl and you guys were typing this, you'd be on some kind of fucking list. Let's back it up for a second. I feel like you guys are taking advantage. Come on. Come on now. Think about it. But you're not a girl, so who cares? Yeah. I think you would be a good girl. What does that fucking mean? What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck? All right, boys. We're nearing the end of the stream. We have to be. I've seen the signs. I've seen the signs. This shit is not going to be on for much longer. What does that fucking mean? That I'm trying to imagine that the other way around. Like talking to someone IRL, like a girl that you know, just like a friend, and just being like, you know what, you'd be cool if you were a dude. Actually, they'd probably take that as a compliment. I guess that would just mean like you'd be one of the boys. I could see that being a compliment, but it would also just be super fucking weird. Did you guys see that Twitter trend earlier this week where there was some Reddit post of some girl saying, I tried to give my boyfriend a compliment, but I ended up ruining our relationship? And like TLDR of it is that she ended up mentioning to him that she's not a guy that she would have a one night stand with, but he's a guy that she would marry. And then he like felt really weird about it. Did you guys see that? That's tough, man. That's tough. It's 100% a compliment. Yeah, I can see how it could be meant that. It's basically saying like you're not someone that you're someone who's like a partner. You're someone I want to spend my life with. You're someone I like being around, right? Which is like a so much deeper thing than like physical attraction. But the way you're saying it is saying like I wouldn't fuck you. You look like you're ugly, right? You're not hot, right? So like just by saying it, you're almost, even if it's meant in the right way, it's coming off as like an insult. You're safe. Like I genuinely feel like she meant it to be a compliment, but I also completely understand him feeling. I'm trying to think of how, like I'm trying to think about someone saying that to me. Like, that would definitely upset me if they were serious, I think. Even if I took it as good as possible, I'd be upset about that, I think. For a lot of guys, that just means she'd cheat on him with the guy that she would have a one-night stand with. I don't think that's what that means at all. I mean, I guess you could maybe take... I wouldn't take it that way at all, yeah. That guy got cheated on? Bro, I've been cheated on when I was 19. That was Sag. That was Sag, but then it changes your perspective. It's like the like now, if I was with someone and they did that, I wouldn't be as sad as much as I would feel like, okay, well, not like there's no like meant to be or whatever, but it would, that's like fake news. It's more like, okay, well, I knew clearly this isn't the relationship for me, so it's time to end it. And it's sad because you wasted your time, but like you just immediately, like sometimes there are signs that the person you're with is not the right person, and them cheating on you is like the number one sign. You're like, okay, you're a piece of shit. All right, time to leave. Right? There's no coming back from that. So, but like the first time it happens to you, it's like the biggest thing in the world. You like feel so fucking broken. What is it? Yeah, if you stay after you get cheated on, yeah, that's sad, yeah. For sure. Because it's like you feel like you can't do any better, maybe. Or maybe you have kids. Like I could see if you got cheated on and you had kids, I could see sucking it up just to like at least until they grow up to like give them both their parents maybe. But I just don't know how you'd come back from that, you know? You'd never trust ever again, right? Every time they go out, you'd feel weird about it. Like imagine being with someone and every time they went out, you never worried about it because why would you? You trust them. And then like that's gone. You can never like you can say you've rebuilt that trust, bro. That's never true. Like you'll think about it every time. Nah, the kids would understand. I wished my parents would have divorced when I was younger. Oh, shit. So you're saying you were the kid in that situation. You feel like they just stayed together just for the kid, but you're saying the home life was so weird because of that you would have rather just them split up? Damn, that's some deep shit. That actually makes a lot of sense, too. Because, like, kids aren't stupid, you know? Damn. We're out here learning today. Hey, can someone give me an answer real quick? So when I'm looking on my Twitch pop out here, Dustin Hands Up B has a green name. But when I look at my actual Twitch page, his name is blue. Are you some kind of wizard? How did you do that? How did you change your name on one and not the other? It's random unless it's set to a color. Oh, if they've never chosen one? Okay, never having chosen a Twitch color goes, wait, what's my Twitch color? Orange. Stay small, everybody. Any other orange? Any other orange chatters? Any orangers? Let's fucking go. Orange gang. Orange gang. Dude, guys, ask YouTube what color their name is. Oh, they don't have any. It's only gray or blue. Oh my god. You can't even choose colors. YouTube L. YouTube L. Oh my god. You have your whole first and last name. Richard Lopez, what's up? Oh my god. All right. All right, have we yapped enough, chat? Has today been enough of a little yap sesh? We procced a random interview. No? All right, okay, shit, we'll stay. I thought you were going to say yes to that. What happens if I keep streaming and you guys keep saying no? I can just never end. Wait, I actually might have something to do. Let me figure this out. I need to get my skates punched. And the place that I know can do that is kind of far away. Sorry, you need to do what? Oh, I guess if you don't play hockey, that term would sound so strange. So basically, when I skate, I pronate my foot a lot, which makes my ankle bone like push out in one direction. And what that does is in your like carbon skate boot, it just rubs up against the edge of the skate boot and it gives my ankle a lot of pain when I'm skating. So punching it out, what you're doing is you use a tool to make the carbon push out a little bit to give your ankle more space. That's all it is. I just need to do that. God, I wish I was your skate boot. Oh, all right. Have you yapped about LA 28 for the Olympics? Yeah, a little bit about how it's going to make traffic really bad. And I don't think they have any of the infrastructure yet. So the next few years are all probably going to be pretty bad. Any tier list for next expansion's Mythic Plus? I am not the person you want to go to for that. Max move? I might move. The main reason that wouldn't have me move right now is Uh, I first of all, I love my house. I love my neighbors. I love the city. I love living here. I also have a bunch of friends that I play hockey with, a bunch of friends in the industry, and I play for Team Liquid, and their facility is in town. And I would have to fly here like 2 times a month to film things instead of driving 10 minutes. That's definitely the main thing keeping me here. Why would you move? Well, I lose a lot of money by living here. I could sell this house and buy a house for the same cost in anywhere else in the country, basically, and buy an absolute giga mansion. Not that I would really want one, so I could either do that or save money. This is the highest tax state in the country, and all of my work is done remotely, meaning that I'm just paying the city taxes for absolutely no reason, and I could just be living in a no income tax state and make more money. But that's the main reason. Second is my sister is in her last year of residency, and she's going to find a job soon. And I like living near my sister. Her and I play tennis together. We just have a good relationship. And my parents are currently still living where we grew up, and they're looking for a place to move, and they're having to pick between having to move between me and my sister. And I think it makes a lot of sense for her to find a job in a no income tax state and me move there, so my parents have a place to come stay as they get older. So that's currently the plan. So it would be like in the next few years, and that's also my Liquid contract is up. I mean, even if we re-sign with Liquid, I would probably move, and then that way we'd have a. It would just make sense for everybody, kind of. Would you take in your parents if that happens, or are they getting their own place? They would definitely get their own place, but like if they were old enough and they needed someone to live with, they could definitely live with me. If they needed to be like taken care of and stuff, for sure. I could definitely, if I sold my LA house and I bought a house in like any normal city in a no income tax state that isn't like exactly Miami or Seattle, I could get a house and easily get like a guest house that could house them or anyone else for the amount that I pay for this house. I could definitely not afford a guest house in LA. I fucking tell you that right now. That is not possible. Cannot afford. Would you move back to Texas? I don't know if I'd go back to live in Dallas. Dallas was fine, suburbs of Dallas, but I really liked Austin. I would buy a house in North Austin, I think, if I were to live in Texas. The only thing about Texas that really sucks compared to LA is the weather is 10 times worse. Like, they're on their own power grid, so if it ever randomly snows, you just lose power forever because they're incompetent. I lived there when that happened. And also during the summer, it is so unbelievably fucking hot and humid. You just can't even go outside. So, all good. Is LA or New York worse in terms of housing? I don't know. I am not familiar. I think they're both pretty bad. Probably New York, though, I'm going to guess. New York, it's like space is harder to acquire because there's so many people, but in LA, the weather's like actually perfect. I don't think you guys understand how perfect LA's weather is until you move here. Every single day is exactly the same. It is 70 degrees, 75 degrees, maybe 80 in like the hottest of the summer, and it's completely dry, no humidity, and it's with a nice breeze. It's fucking beautiful every day. But for some people, that's really boring. Is it sunny all the time? Oh yeah. Like, I actually kind of prefer different seasons now that I've lived here for a while. Like, I would like LA weather, but it's like kind of chilly where you put a jacket on for a month, but that just never happens. We get rain here, yeah. No snow, though. That's like 27 in not freedom units. All right, buddy. All right, buddy. Move in with Impec in Sweden. No. Dude, isn't Sweden like insane tax rates? I'm pretty sure it is, right? That's all of EU. High tax, but you don't have to pay for medical care. Yeah, I think at a certain point that trade-off doesn't work. Like, I don't know how much money you need to make, but like the more money you make, the less of a value you're getting from paying your taxes, right? Like, let's just say you make 20K a year and you pay X amount in taxes, but you get free healthcare. That's like value as fuck. But if you make more and more money, now you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes and you're not getting nearly that value from the taxes you're spending, right? But you're helping others, right? That's kind of the point. And who needs that much money? There's a point in that for sure. Not saying that's a bad thing, but it also the deal isn't as great, right? Being part of a society that helped you make money, yes. Guys, I'm there with you. I'm not criticizing it. I think it makes sense that that different systems work for different people. There's certainly a lot of problems here. Is US one of the best? This is a super random question, but is the US one of the best places to be rich? I don't even know how the fuck someone would know this. Like, what does that even mean? So I guess it would be low tax. Oh, United Arab Emirates. So the US is better than EU for that. What about like China? What if you're like giga rich in China? Does anyone know how their system works? We have zero income tax here in Dubai. Okay, question. If you have zero income tax in Dubai, how do you pay for like how are utilities paid for? Like, how are their ambulances? How are their schools? How are their oil money? So like specifically the oil barons fund all of that themselves. They fund the government. And so regular people don't. So wouldn't that argument be that's a bad place to be rich because you have to pay for everything for everyone else rather than everyone pays? Or do a few people have so much money that it genuinely doesn't matter? Oh, the government owns all the oil. Oh, okay. I mean, it's still the same thing. So the government are the rich people, is what you're saying in Dubai. They're so rich it doesn't matter. Yeah, I remember seeing that. On it was like ranking the world's richest people, and I'm like, dude, the only reason that all the Saudi people aren't on here is because like we don't know how much money they have. Like, they would probably be like way higher than everyone else. They hydro seed the air to make rain. I have no idea what the fuck you just said, but that procced a memory for me where we were doing the Race to World First in London, and I was getting a ride from Heathrow to the Red Bull facility, and I forget who it was, me and one of our other raiders. Maybe they'll remember this, but the entire ride, he was telling us on how the government controls the weather. And it sounded like some crazy-ass conspiracy theory, but it went hard as fuck. He was so into it, man. I love that, dude. I love hearing conspiracy theorists. I think it's so interesting how they, like... I think about, like, how they came to believe stuff like that. Max, there's a billionaire in India whose house is actually a fucking skyscraper. That guy's a beast. What is it? They do cloud seed the weather. Yeah, maybe I'm not giving a good enough impression. This guy was definitely on some crazy shit. He was saying this guy was not okay. Some things may actually happen. Whatever that guy was saying was not happening, if I could give you the vibe. You guys ever had someone tell you something and you're like, I'm not so sure I'd trust this guy? That guy was one of those guys. All good. I had my uncle tell me that the bowl of fruit had a listening device on it. Okay, so the right thing to do is to like, they're really paranoid and it's to like dispel the illusion. But the thing that goes the hardest is to like double down and be like, you're right. But maybe it's kind of fucked up. Max, did you see FaZe is investing $2.3 million into investigating how U.S. government uses pigeons to spy on people? What the fuck? FaZe Clan, the chain people? That's such a fucking FaZe the fuck up. Let's go. Frank says, surprisingly not the worst investment an esport org has made in recent years. Oh my god. That is fucking brutal. Max, have you ever seen a baby pigeon? No. Checkmate. Bro, I can probably look... Baby pigeon. Right there. Yo, baby pigeons are ugly as fuck. Oh my god. Those things are ugly. That's fake? AI art? Oh, true. Could all be AI. Government cover-up. Are pigeons real? Guys, pigeons have such an insane glow-up. They just look so... That actually is AI stock. AR, isn't it? Are pigeons the ones that are really smart, or are those crows? Those are crows, right? Crows and ravens. Yeah, I've randomly browsed some Twitter videos every now and then where birds are doing some smart as fuck shit. Stuff that I couldn't even do. You guys think you're smarter than a bird? At like what you do, like relatively? Are you smarter than a smart bird? Because a smart bird, like to say you're a smart human means like you're out here figuring out like crazy, you're like a scientist or you're like a fucking genius, right? It's relative, bird to human. God, what the fuck are we talking about? This has got to be the end of the stream, right? Guys, this is the end of the stream. Am I like, I know what it feels like when it's at the end of the stream. This has to be the end of the stream. No? Again? Okay. All right. Do you like bird law? What does that mean? Bird law. Is it an always sunny thing? Well, I'm well versed in bird law. Bird law. This is a real bird. Why are people referencing bird law? It's always, it isn't, it's always sunny bit. Max, if you give me mod, you can end stream. Okay, I'm gonna do that because I actually have to go do something. So if you guys want to blame anyone for me ending my stream, it's this guy. He's been given mod just now. Let's fucking go. I've been released. Ugh. Holy shit. All right. I should be live tomorrow. See ya.